Chapter 1677. On the Fortune mainland, with the heavenly demon talisman's stronghold strength, there was not much danger. Therefore, the defensive formation that Mo Qingyun had set up was not of a particularly high level. Since the grade of the defensive formations was not high, the time Mo Qingyun spent was naturally much less. Roughly half a month later, Mo Qingyun finished laying out all the defensive formations. As for the offensive formations, Mo Qingyun did not bother with them because they were completely useless. If the Fortune mainland's natives accidentally came to this valley, Yao Liyun could drive them away. Not to mention, these Fortune mainland's natives were the source of Mo Qingyun's incense power. Mo Qingyun wouldn't kill them to reduce the source of his Joss flame power. After settling all the matters, Mo Qingyun did not plan to stay any longer, heading to the Heavenly Soul Devil race. After leaving some instructions to Mo Hongtian and the others, Mo Qingyun left the Fortune mainland, heading towards the Heavenly Soul Devil race. Dragon Snake has been to the Heavenly Soul Devil race. She should have a map of the Heavenly Soul Devil race. On the way to the Heavenly Soul Devil race, Mo Qingyun recalled Dragon Snake's words and decided to make a trip to the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe. Mo Qingyun had two plans for going to the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe. Firstly, he could test whether or not Granny Dragon Snake had exposed his identity. Second, he could get the map of the Heavenly Soul Devil race from Dragon Snake. Other than that, Mo Qingyun had promised Han Wenyu that, if there was a chance, he would go to the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe to see her. Mo Qingyun was not very familiar with the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe's location, thus he could only ask Lian Hong and the others. After a series of inquiries, Mo Qingyun was satisfied with Ao Li's familiarity with the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe. After learning that Ao Li was familiar with the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race, Mo Qingyun handed the task of traveling to Ao Li. Ao Li was a Grand Unity Xian, Immortal Realm expert. It was not a bad choice to let him ride the Lightning Cloud Crane. With Ao Li's cultivation, he could avoid a lot of trouble during the journey. Since the task of traveling had been handed over to Ao Li, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered the five-directional pagoda, ready to seize the time to cultivate. After entering the five-directional pagoda, Mo Qingyun did not cultivate the spiritual turtle transformation. Instead, he chose to cultivate the Xianqing scripture. The way he saw it, the most important thing now was to raise his cultivation level as soon as possible. When he cultivated the profound pure scripture again, something that Mo Qingyun found hard to believe happened before his eyes. At this moment, the power of the Daos that he had comprehended actually merged with the Xianqing spiritual power. In this way, the strength of the Xianqing spiritual power was equivalent to a metamorphosis. The Xianqing scripture is indeed a cultivation method of a sage. Its strength is indeed extraordinary. Noticing the change in the immortal spiritual power, Mo Qingyun's expression was shocked and he could not help but sigh. After this discovery, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately worked even harder to cultivate. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. Unknowingly, 2 months had already passed. During this period of cultivation, Mo Qingyun had already cultivated the third level of the Xianqing scripture to nearly 40% completion. After discovering this, a faint smile appeared on the corner of Mo Qingyun's mouth. He silently calculated in his heart and said, "With my current cultivation speed, I will need at most half a year to reach perfection in the third layer of the profound pure scripture. Master, we have already arrived at the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's territory." At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to continue cultivating, Ao Li's words entered his mind. After hearing Ao Li's words, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating and came out of the five-directional pagoda. "Let's go in." Arriving beside Ao Li, Mo Qingyun instructed him and walked towards the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's territory. After entering the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's territory, Emo Qingyun asked someone for the location of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's main branch. Emo Qingyun asked a little and he knew the location of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's main branch. Then, Emo Qingyun and Aoli rushed towards the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's main branch. Several hours later, Emo Qingyun and Aoli arrived at the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix race's main branch and were stopped by a group of guards. "Who are you? Why are you here?" "I am Emo Qingyun and I am here to look for Miss Han Wenyu." Surrounded by several guards, Emo Qingyun had his hands behind his back as he responded with an indifferent expression. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, one of the guards was shocked and looked at Emo Qingyun in surprise. He asked, You are Emo Qingyun, Mr. Emo?" "Yes." Emo Qingyun nodded. "Mr. Emo, please wait for a moment. I will pass on your message to Miss Wenyu." Hearing Emo Qingyun's name, the guard didn't dare to hesitate and left immediately. Han Wenyu had told him that if a young man named Emo Qingyun came, he was to report to her immediately. Although he wasn't sure if the young man in front of him was the person Han Wenyu had told him to. But it wasn't a big deal for him to inform Han Wenyu. If Emo Qingyun was the person, but he didn't inform her, then it would be troublesome. Seeing the guard's actions, Emo Qingyun immediately knew that Han Wenyu had instructed him to do so. Not long after, under the guard's lead, a slender and elegant young girl flew over quickly. This young girl was the daughter of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan's leader, Han Wenyu. Han Wenyu smiled sweetly and came in front of Emo Qingyun. She glared at Emo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Emo, if you didn't come to see me, I would have thought that you had forgotten about me." "How could that be? Even if I had forgotten everyone else, I would never forget Miss Wenyu." Hearing Han Wenyu's words, Emo Qingyun smiled and replied casually. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Han Wenyu's pretty face immediately turned red, and a trace of sweetness appeared on her face. Han Wenyu blushed and glared at Emo Qingyun. She said, "You have a glib tongue. I think what you're saying now is the same to every girl." Han Wenyu's face turned even redder when she said this. She felt that there was something wrong with what she had said. The conversation between her and Emo Qingyun seemed a little too intimate. Hearing Emo Qingyun and Han Wenyu's conversation, the guards at the side were all stunned. They looked at Emo Qingyun with admiration. The young miss of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan had always been valiant and formidable. She was a woman who didn't lose out to men. But now, in front of Emo Qingyun, she was acting like a little girl. Emo Qingyun was really capable. It was as the saying went, everything has its vanquisher. "Nephew Emo, long time no see." Just as Han Wenyu was feeling awkward, Han Wanqing heard the news from somewhere and rushed over. Because of Han Wanqing's arrival, the atmosphere at the scene became much more relaxed. Han Wenyu was no longer so shy. Along with Han Wanqing were many elders of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan and Dragon Snake, who was acquainted with Emo Qingyun. Junior Emo Qingyun pays his respects to Uncle Han, Dragon Snake, and seniors. Seeing Han Wanqing and the others approaching, Emo Qingyun had a respectful expression on his face as he cupped his hands and saluted them. No need for formalities. Han Wanqing smiled and waved his hand at Emo Qingyun's behavior. He gestured to Emo Qingyun and said, "Nephew Emo and this friend, please follow me inside for a chat." Emo Qingyun nodded and walked into the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan's headquarters with Han Wanqing and the others. As Han Wanqing and the others walked in, their gazes paused on Aoli. Obviously, they were very surprised that Aoli, who was at the Taishian Immortal Realm, would be with Emo Qingyun. Aoli did not care about the gazes of Han Wanqing and the others. He followed Emo Qingyun with a cold expression. Seeing Aoli's behavior, Han Wanqing and the others were puzzled. However, they did not ask any questions. After a while, under Han Wanqing's lead, Emo Qingyun and the others walked into a large hall and found a place to sit down. After Emo Qingyun and the others were seated, Han Wanqing ordered some of the clan members to bring out their precious fruits and wine. Uncle Han, I actually came here today mainly because I have a favor to ask of you. After exchanging pleasantries with Han Wanqing and the others, Mo Qingyun did not beat around the bush and directly stated his purpose for coming. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the expressions of Han Wanqing and the others changed. They were all curious. Under the curious gazes of Han Wanqing and the others, Mo Qingyun looked at Dragon Snake and asked, "Senior, have you been to the Heavenly Soul Devil clan recently?" "Never." Dragon Snake shook her head. After pondering for a while, she said, "Ever since I left the Myriad Treasures auction house, I have been staying in the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan's headquarters." Hearing Granny Dragonsnake's reply, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed slightly as his emotions changed. In that case, it seemed that Ting Zhao's knowledge of his existence had nothing to do with Dragon Snake. Mo Qingyun did not doubt Dragon Snake's words. Dragon Snake did not need to quibble about something like this. Seeing Mo Qingyun's change in expression, Han Wanqing felt that something was off. He asked, "Dear nephew, have you encountered some trouble? Why don't you tell us? Perhaps we can do something to help." Hearing Han Wanqing's words, Mo Qingyun still looked at Dragon Snake and asked, "Senior, I once heard you say that you went to the Heavenly Soul Devil clan. Do you have a map of the Heavenly Soul Devil clan?" Dragon Snake immediately understood when she was asked this. She guessed Mo Qingyun's intentions for coming. She said, "So you've come here today for the map of the Heavenly Soul Devil clan. Have you thought it through and decided to return to the Heavenly Soul Devil clan?" "That's right. There are some things that I have to face eventually." Mo Qingyun did not deny Dragon Snake's question. He nodded solemnly and admitted it. Han Wanqing and the others all showed admiration when they saw Mo Qingyun's behavior. A sliver of anticipation appeared on their faces. Chapter 1678. This is the map of the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe. You can keep it. After hearing Mo Qingyun's reply, Dragon Snake took out a scroll and handed it to Mo Qingyun. "Thank you, Senior." After receiving the map of the Heavenly Soul Demon race from Granny Dragon Snake, Mo Qingyun expressed his gratitude with joy. With the map in hand, he was relieved and didn't have to worry about the route anymore. Furthermore, after talking to Dragon Snake, he confirmed that it wasn't Dragon Snake who had revealed his identity. In this way, he had achieved his goal of coming to the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan. After that, Mo Qingyun chatted with Han Wanqing and the others. They reminisced about the past and discussed their plans for the future. After a few hours, the drinking ended and everyone dispersed. Due to the relationship between Mo Qingyun and Han Wenyu, the task of arranging accommodation for Mo Qingyun naturally fell to Han Wenyu. Seeing that everyone had dispersed and only Mo Qingyun and herself were left, Han Wenyu blushed and said, "The lady you're looking for, have you found her?" Mo Qingyun had told Han Wenyu about Long Hanyan before, so she knew about it. After hearing Han Wenyu's question, Mo Qingyun didn't deny it. He nodded and said, "I've already found her. If you want to see her, I can bring you there immediately." "See her?" Han Wenyu looked hesitant. She was obviously hesitant. As for his true identity, Han Wenyu already knew about it. She was the same as Long Hanyan. She could be a clone of some almighty from the 1,000 illusions. Speaking of which, the relationship between her and Long Hanyan was also very subtle. Seeing that Han Wenyu was hesitant, Mo Qingyun didn't rush her. He let Han Wenyu think about it slowly. For a moment, Mo Qingyun and Han Wenyu walked side by side. Neither of them spoke. After a while, with Han Wenyu leading the way, Mo Qingyun arrived at a courtyard. "This will be your accommodation." After walking to the front of the courtyard, Han Wenyu pointed at the courtyard and walked in first. Hearing that, Mo Qingyun nodded and followed her into the courtyard. After a while, Han Wenyu arranged Mo Qingyun's accommodation. She took a deep breath and said, "Qingyun, let me see her." It seemed that after some hesitation, Han Wenyu still wanted to see Long Han Yen. Speaking of which, she was very curious about the existence of Long Han Yen. Okay. Hearing Han Wenyu's request, Mo Qinyun immediately agreed. He held Han Wenyu's hand and disappeared in a flicker. A short while later, Mo Qinyun and Huang Xiaolong's figures appeared on the Fortune mainland. This place is? Looking at the scene in front of her, Han Wenyu's eyes widened in shock. She was certain that the place she was in now was definitely not the wilderness continent. Shuttling between continents? At this moment, a shocking thought appeared in Han Wenyu's mind. Who would have thought that in such a short period of time, Mo Qinyun had grasped the heaven-defying method of shuttling between continents? While Han Wenyu was still in shock, Mo Qinyun smiled and explained to Han Wenyu, "This is another continent. I found the method to come here by chance." In order not to shock Han Wenyu too much, Mo Qinyun did not answer truthfully. Instead, he found an excuse to explain. After all, the fact that he was carrying an entire continent with him was simply too frightening. It really is another continent. Han Wenyu's pretty face was filled with shock. The doubt in her heart had been answered. Then, Han Wenyu looked at Mo Qinyun in a different light, inwardly saying, after not seeing him for a while, he has become more mysterious than before. His methods and abilities are also more unimaginable. Mo Qinyun was unaware of Han Wenyu's thoughts. He was only thinking of bringing Han Wenyu to see Long Han Yen and the others. A short while later, under Mo Qinyun's lead, they arrived at the valley where everyone was staying. Qinyun Valley. When they arrived at the front of the valley, Mo Qinyun saw 3 simple and unadorned words on a huge blue stone. It seemed that this was the name that Shi Tongqing and the others had given to the valley after he left. Standing outside Qinyun Valley, Mo Qinyun quickly formed a hand seal and pressed it against the array outside the valley. Then, the array guarding Qinyun Valley emitted a dazzling light. At the same time that the light bloomed, a passageway that could accommodate many people appeared in front of Mo Qinyun. "Let's go in." Mo Qinyun opened the protective array, nodded to Han Wenyu, and walked into Qinyun Valley. Hearing this, Han Wenyu did not hesitate and immediately followed behind Mo Qinyun. Walking into Qinyun Valley, Mo Qinyun saw many people busy in the valley. Some people were farming, some were cultivating, and some were refining weapons. Looking at the scene in the valley, the shock on Han Wenyu's face immediately became even more intense. She originally thought that Long Han Yen was the only one living in this valley. She did not expect that this valley was like a paradise, and there were so many people living in it. "Mr. Mo, you're back." When everyone saw Mo Qinyun approaching, they all showed a respectful expression and greeted Mo Qinyun. As for Han Wenyu, everyone was not curious and only bowed respectfully. Presumably, in everyone's eyes, Han Wenyu was Long Han Yen, but she was dressed differently today. Mo Qinyun walked and greeted everyone as he walked. He arrived at Long Han Yen's residence. Perhaps it was because they had not seen each other for a long time. Long Han Yen and the other girls had endless things to talk about, so they always gathered in group. When Mo Qinyun just walked into the courtyard, he saw Long Han Yen and the other girls, who were chatting and laughing. When the girls saw Mo Qinyun coming back, they were all surprised, and they all walked towards Mo Qinyun to greet him. But when they saw Han Wenyu, they were all shocked. They all opened their eyes and mouths wide. What was going on? Why was there another person like Han Yen? After a short period of shock, Long Han Yen came back to herself and asked Mo Qinyun tentatively, "Qinyun, is this girl also a clone of the Linglong Saintess like me?" "Yes." Mo Qinyun nodded, raised his finger and pointed at Han Wenyu, and introduced, "This is Lady Wenyu, the daughter of the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix clan's patriarch. Of course, her other identity is the same as Han Yen and Qinyu. They are all clones of the Linglong Saintess." "Lady Wenyu, long time no see." Murong Qinyu had seen Han Wenyu before, so she was not a stranger. After introducing Han Wenyu to everyone, Mo Qingyun introduced Yi Wuyo and the other girls to Han Wenyu. After Mo Qingyun's introduction, the girls got to know each other. After a while, the girls were having a good time, and they forgot about Mo Qingyun. Seeing such a scene, Mo Qingyun could not help but smile bitterly. What was going on? Although he was a little depressed, Mo Qingyun did not show it, and sat at the side with an indifferent expression. After the girls chatted for a while, Ruo Shui and the other girls left, leaving behind Long Hanyan, Murong Qinyu and Han Wenyu. In the girls' opinion, with the special relationship between Long Hanyan and the other two girls, they should have some private words to say. Buzz buzz buzz. At this time, when the girls left, Long Hanyan's body throbbed. Then, the jade pendant hanging on Long Hanyan's waist began to gather spiritual power at a rapid speed. After a while, a beautiful figure of a fairy spirit condensed in front of Long Hanyan and the other two girls. Linglong Saintess? Seeing the beautiful figure in front of them, Mo Qingyun and the others were surprised, and they immediately recognized the beautiful figure. After recognizing Qian Linglong, Mo Qingyun's expression changed, and he said with some displeasure, "Miss Linglong, you left a mark on Han Yan's body. Could it be that you want to monitor Han Yan?" "Mr. Mo, don't forget, Han Yan is my clone." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong blinked her eyes, revealing an expression that said, "Han Yan and I are actually one. It shouldn't be wrong for me to put something on my body, right? How about I let you check next time?" When she said this, Qian Linglong blinked her eyes, and she looked like she was tempting Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was speechless. He could not win against Qian Linglong. What made Mo Qingyun even more speechless was that Qian Linglong, an expert who had shocked the past and present, had such a playful personality. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was silent, Qian Linglong did not continue. She glanced at Long Hanyan and the other two girls and said, "I didn't expect my 3 clones to have feelings for you. It seems that you are really my destined person." Mo Qingyun was embarrassed again. However, Han Wenyu and the other girls saw the expression of the Linglong Saintess, and they all laughed meaningfully. From the perspective of women, they could see that Qian Linglong's feelings for Mo Qingyun were not ordinary. "Linglong Saintess, why don't you also give in to Qingyun?" Among the girls, Han Wenyu's character was the most lively. Seeing the Linglong Saintess's action, she immediately encouraged the Linglong Saintess. Hearing Han Wenyu's words, Long Hanyan and the other two girls suddenly opened their eyes wide, and they were shocked by Han Wenyu's action. Han Wenyu was so bold, she actually dared to joke with the Supreme Being like this. Hearing Han Wenyu's words, the Linglong Saintess's expression obviously changed, and she unconsciously looked at Mo Qingyun and said, "I do want to give in, but unfortunately, Mr. Mo doesn't like me. He likes my clones." Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Mo Qingyun was embarrassed. Qian Linglong was getting bolder and bolder. While Mo Qingyun was embarrassed, Han Wenyu and the other girls smiled evilly, and immediately winked at Mo Qingyun, and said, "Qingyun, the Linglong Saintess has said so. If you don't give in to her, you will be wasting her good intentions." "That's right. If you don't give in to her, we can't be with you." Long Hanyan's pretty face blushed, and she also joined in the fun. At this moment, it seemed that the 3 clones of Long Hanyan had a common enemy. Under the encouragement of Long Hanyan and the other girls, Mo Qingyun also felt that he could not give in. Chapter 1679. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, Long Hanyan and the other girls stared with their eyes wide open. They did not expect Mo Qingyun to be so direct. What shocked them even more was that Mo Qingyun actually suggested sleeping together. This was too domineering. Even if it was true in the future, it would still be embarrassing to say it so directly. You wish." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was about to make a move, Qian Linglong immediately cowered and revealed a shy expression. She was the saintess of the 1,000 illusions. How could she sleep together with a man like an ordinary girl? Qian Linglong replied shyly. She then glared at Emo Qingyun and said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Remember my words, you are not allowed to do that. At this moment, Qian Linglong was no different from a young girl who had just experienced her first awakening of love. Not allowed to do that? Hearing Qian Linglong's words, Emo Qingyun was startled and did not react in time. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, Long Hanyan and the other girls were shocked. Immediately, the girls gave Emo Qingyun a thumbs up, as if they were praising Qingyun. After Emo Qingyun's question, Qian Linglong immediately became even more shy. She angrily glared at Emo Qingyun and said, You're going to piss me off. That's it. After hearing Qian Linglong's emphasis, Emo Qingyun immediately understood and revealed an awkward smile. So Qian Linglong was referring to that. It seemed like the joke had gone too far. However, for some reason, Emo Qingyun said with a serious expression, Miss Linglong, don't worry. Since I've promised you, I will not do that with Han Yen and the others when you're not around. After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong instantly vomited blood and did not know what to say. According to Emo Qingyun's words, it seemed like they could do it if she was around. Qian Linglong gave Emo Qingyun a strange look. She then revealed a bashful expression and said, I won't tell you. After Qian Linglong finished speaking, her figure flashed and disappeared in front of Emo Qingyun. 1,000 illusions, Inner Clan, Dongting Lake. This Emo Qingyun is really despicable. He actually dared to flirt with me. Recalling Emo Qingyun's words, Qian Linglong blushed. She clenched her fist and said, The next time I see him, I will teach him a lesson and let him know how powerful this saintess is. After Qian Linglong vented her shyness, she revealed a rueful expression and said, I didn't expect him to be entangled with my 3 doppelgangers. Could it be that he is destined to be my man? At the thought of this, Qian Linglong was at a loss. She was at a loss about the future. She realized that the more she interacted with Emo Qingyun, the more entangled she was with Emo Qingyun. In Long Hanyan's courtyard. Qingyun, you are so powerful. Even the saintess is afraid of you. Qingyun, when did you subdue the saintess? Not long after Qian Linglong left, Long Hanyan and the other girls surrounded Emo Qingyun. After hearing what Long Hanyan and the other girls said, Emo Qingyun was speechless and revealed an awkward expression. These girls were really touching the pot that didn't boil. After a short moment of depression, Emo Qingyun did not back down. He smiled faintly and looked at the girls. He said, Why are you so anxious to have me subdue the saintess? Do you want that? After the conversation with Qian Linglong, Emo Qingyun also realized that he could not back down when talking about this topic. As long as he took the initiative, Long Hanyan and the other girls would definitely be shy and would not dare to tease him anymore. As expected, after hearing what Emo Qingyun said, Long Hanyan and the other girls were immediately embarrassed. They said, You are so annoying. We are not talking to you anymore. After Han Wenyu and the other girls finished speaking, they disappeared in front of Emo Qingyun like colorful butterflies. Seeing what Han Wenyu and the other girls did, Emo Qingyun did not chase after them. He smiled faintly and walked out of the courtyard. After leaving Long Hanyan's residence, Emo Qingyun strolled around Qingyun Valley and observed the changes in Qingyun Valley. After a few hours, Emo Qingyun returned to Long Hanyan's courtyard. He wanted to ask Han Wenyu for her opinion. He wanted to see if Han Wenyu planned to stay for a few more days or return to the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe. After all, he was going to the Heavenly Soul Demon race. He could not stay in the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe for long. Qingyun, you are back. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had returned, Han Wenyu and the other girls smiled faintly and walked towards Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun walked in front of the girls. He turned to Han Wenyu and asked, Lady Wenyu, I am going to the Heavenly Soul Demon race. I cannot stay in the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe for long. Do you plan to stay in the Qingyun Valley or return to the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Wenyu revealed a hesitant expression. She was considering whether to stay or leave. When Han Wenyu revealed a hesitant expression, Long Han Yen and the other girl immediately persuaded her. Wenyu, it is meaningless for you to return to the tribe. Why don't you stay here? In any case, this place does not lack cultivation resources. Also, the cultivation of the people on this continent is very low. We can play around as we wish. Murong Qinyu added. Hearing the two girls' persuasion, Han Wenyu was immediately moved. She made a decision in her heart and said, Qingyun, send me back to the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe first. I will bid farewell to my father and return to the Qingyun Valley. Okay. Hearing Han Wenyu's decision, Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement. Then, Mo Qingyun sent Han Wenyu out and let her bid farewell to Han Wanqing and the others. After sending Han Wenyu out, Mo Qingyun stayed at the Purple Jade Luan Phoenix tribe and waited for Han Wenyu to come find him. The night passed without words. The next morning, Han Wenyu, accompanied by Han Wanqing and the others, arrived at Mo Qingyun's courtyard. They were prepared to send Han Wenyu off. Nephew, I will now hand Wenyu over to you. You must take good care of her for me. Patting Mo Qingyun's shoulder, Han Wanqing revealed a solemn expression and warned Mo Qingyun. Hearing Han Wanqing's words, Han Wenyu blushed and said shyly, Dad, what did you say? I'm only going out to play with Mr. Mo, because of the Fortune Mainland's special existence. Han Wenyu did not tell Han Wanqing and the others about her trip. She only told Han Wanqing and the others that she was leaving with Mo Qingyun to gain experience. Remembering that Mo Qingyun had Aoli accompanying him, Han Wanqing and the others were not worried that Han Wenyu would be in danger following Mo Qingyun. Ha! Seeing Han Wenyu's shy behavior, Han Wanqing and the others immediately burst into laughter, showing a happy expression. Then, Mo Qingyun chatted with the others for a while before leaving with Han Wenyu. Patriarch, Mo Qingyun is different from others. Wenyu will be fine following him. Watching Mo Qingyun leave, Dragon Snake smiled faintly and comforted Han Wanqing. Hearing Granny Dragon Snake's words, Han Wanqing shook his head and said with a smile, I'm not worried about this. I'm just thinking about what kind of shocking performance this kid will have when he returns to the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Hearing Han Wanqing's words, everyone's expression changed, revealing a look of anticipation. The lightning cloud crane's speed was extremely fast. It soon left the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe's territory with Mo Qingyun and Huang Xiaolong. After leaving the Violet Jade Luan Phoenix tribe's territory, Mo Qingyun summoned Aoli and had him ride on the lightning cloud crane. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered as he entered the Fortune Mainland with Han Wenyu. Arriving at the Fortune Mainland, Mo Qingyun settled Han Wenyu down and went into seclusion to cultivate. This time, Mo Qingyun was still cultivating the Xianqing scripture so that his cultivation could break through faster. Under Mo Qingyun's cultivation, the various Tao forces he comprehended gradually merged with his profound purity spiritual energy. This continued for 2 months before Mo Qingyun's cultivation progress finally came to a halt. All the Tao forces he comprehended had merged with his profound purity spiritual energy. In this way, if he wanted to take another step forward, he had to comprehend more Tao forces. It seems like it's impossible to cultivate the third layer of the profound purity scripture to a deeper level. Realizing his current situation, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He decided to stop cultivating the profound purity scripture. Although he stopped cultivating the profound purity scripture, Mo Qingyun didn't stop cultivating. He planned to cultivate other aspects. With my current cultivation, comprehending the several great inheritances shouldn't be difficult. When Mo Qingyun had first obtained the several great inheritances, His cultivation hadn't reached the true immortal realm. Now it was completely different. With Emo Qingyun's current cultivation, comprehending the several great inheritances would be much easier. As expected, the difficulty of comprehending the several great inheritances for Emo Qingyun had been reduced to the extreme. In a short month, Emo Qingyun had thoroughly comprehended the 4 great inheritances. It seems like everything is in vain if my cultivation isn't enough. Seeing this result, Emo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. His thirst for strength increased. At this moment, just as Emo Qingyun was sighing in his heart, Aoli sent him a voice transmission. "Master, we seem to be targeted." Hearing Aoli's words, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He asked, "How strong is the other party?" "But according to my senses, there shouldn't be any Grand Unity Xian Immortal Realm experts in the group following us." Aoli answered Emo Qingyun's question truthfully. Hearing Aoli's answer, Emo Qingyun's brows relaxed a little. The worry in his heart lessened a lot. He said, "Ignore them for now. Let's continue on our way." Since there were no Grand Unity Xian Immortal Realm experts, Emo Qingyun wasn't worried. Aoli's cultivation was enough to deal with them. "Yes." Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Aoli didn't hesitate and continued to ride the lightning cloudy crane. After instructing Aoli, Emo Qingyun had a thoughtful expression. He silently pondered in his heart. Could it be Ting Zhao's people? But according to Gui Ling's prediction, there are Grand Unity Xian Immortal Realm experts in the group sent by Ting Zhao. Chapter 1680. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, with the lightning cloud crane's flying speed, those people should not be able to catch up for long. Once the lightning cloud crane shook them off, there was no need to pay attention to them. But for some reason, no matter how fast Aoli was, those people were always able to follow him at a steady pace. Seeing such a strange situation, Aoli seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to Emo Qingyun. "Master, if I'm not wrong, they might have left a tracking mark on me." In Aoli's opinion, this was the only possibility for those people to be able to keep chasing him. It's indeed a little troublesome to be followed by them like this. Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. He also felt that something was wrong and began to think of a solution. After thinking for a while, Emo Qingyun immediately had a plan and knew what to do next. Turtle Spirit Prediction. Rays of bright light gathered outside Emo Qingyun's body and turned into a huge turtle shell. At the same time when the turtle shell was formed, an ancient and vicissitude aura was emitted from Emo Qingyun's body. After a while, a golden light flew out from Emo Qingyun's body and condensed into a projection in front of him. In the projection, there were several Tai Xian Immortal Realm experts who were chasing Emo Qingyun crazily. It seems that although I have left the Heavenly Demon Talisman stronghold, I still can't shake them off. Seeing these figures in the projection, Emo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He knew the origin of those people behind him. Sure enough, these people who were chasing them were sent by that guy called Ting Zhao. At present, it seemed that the Daluo Golden Immortal Realm experts sent by Ting Zhao did not have time to meet up with these people. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and came to Aoli's side. He said in a deep voice, "Since they like to follow us so much, let's stop and wait for them." With Emo Qingyun's personality, he naturally did not like to be chased. He preferred to take the initiative to chase after the enemy. Moreover, these people were all Daluo Golden Immortals. It was not particularly troublesome to deal with them. Previously, Emo Qingyun did not want to take action because it was rare for him to lower himself to their level. However, these people did not know how to appreciate his kindness. Naturally, Emo Qingyun would not be polite. "Yes." After receiving Emo Qingyun's order, Aoli immediately responded and stopped moving. Although Emo Qingyun's movement, those people did not follow him, and they also stopped not far away. Seeing that the other party didn't rush over, a faint smile appeared on Emo Qingyun's face. He shouted, "Everyone, since we're going the same way, how about we travel together?" As Emo Qingyun's words spread, the expressions of the people behind him changed. A hint of panic flashed across their faces. His whereabouts had been exposed. What is to be? To's to be, to be, to be. Everyone discussed for a while. Attention, attention, attention to be, to. After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew towards those people. In the blink of an eye, he arrived before them. Arriving in front of these people, Aoli released his aura and crushed towards these people. Under Aoli's aura, these people's faces turned pale, and they looked terrified. With their abilities, they were no match for Aoli. They're not from the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Emo Qingyun scanned the people before him and realized that they were not from the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. Emo Qingyun's expression changed when he realized that they were not from the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. He was puzzled and asked, "Who are you? Why are you following us?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, these people fell silent and no one answered. "You're not speaking?" Emo Qingyun squinted his eyes and his expression turned cold. Coldness radiated from his body. Emo Qingyun nodded at Aoli and signaled for him to kill these people. "Leave one alive. Kill the rest." "Yes." Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, Aoli's figure flashed and he charged towards one of the people. Seeing Emo Qingyun and Aoli's decisive actions, these people were shocked and they became even more panicked. They did not think that Emo Qingyun would act so decisively. He did not give them any chance to explain themselves. "Sir, you have no enmity with us. You've gone too far." A soul formation expert scolded coldly and angrily when he saw Emo Qingyun and Aoli's actions. While they were scolding, they did not remain idle. They immediately joined forces with Aoli to trap them. "I don't like the feeling of having a long tail. Naturally, I'll cut it off." Emo Qingyun had a cold expression on his face as he responded and also joined the battle. Combination Gate. In order to end the battle quickly, Emo Qingyun did not hold back. He immediately unleashed his martial soul mystique. Suddenly, a light gate with 3 grooves appeared in the sky above them. As soon as the combination gate appeared, it emitted a terrifying sealing power that blasted into everyone's bodies. After being blasted by the sealing power, everyone immediately spat out blood and their faces turned pale. However, what frightened them the most was that their cultivation levels were weakening. In an instant they had fallen by a level. Originally, they were not as strong as Aoli and could not fight against him for too long. Now that their cultivation levels had all fallen, they were even less of a match for Aoli. In this way, they were in a terrible situation. If things went wrong, they might all die here. No wonder someone offered a quasi-sacred artifact to buy this kid's head. This kid is really not easy to deal with. After seeing Emo Qingyun's means, a bitter expression appeared on one of the people's faces. He knew that Emo Qingyun was difficult to deal with. At this moment, he felt a strong sense of regret in his heart. If he had known that Emo Qingyun was so terrifying, he would not have taken the risk no matter how precious the quasi-sacred artifact was. If he did not even have his head, even if he obtained the quasi-sacred artifact, it would be useless. Emo Qingyun naturally did not care about these people's thoughts. What he cared about was what that person had said. "Using a quasi-sacred artifact as a reward to exchange for my head?" Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He understood why he was being tracked. A cold smile appeared on his face. "Ting Xiao, you really think highly of me. You are actually willing to take out a quasi-sacred artifact to take my head. If that's the case, I have to speed up and head to the Heavenly Soul Demon race." Emo Qingyun was very clear that with the power that Ting Xiao could use, it was most likely useless for him to hide. Besides, it was not Emo Qingyun's style to blindly hide and evade. Since Ting Xiao wanted to deal with him, he naturally could not swallow his anger. He had to retaliate. Going to the heavenly soul demon race was dangerous, but it was also an opportunity for him to fight against Ting Xiao. More importantly, Mo Qingyun had already thought of a way out. His original body would go to the heavenly soul demon race and leave his clone in the outside world. Even if his original body met with an accident, he could still condense his original body's cultivation. Although it would waste some of his cultivation time, it could make Ting Xiao mistakenly believe that Mo Qingyun had been killed by him. This person is that kid's subordinate. As long as we capture that kid, this person will hesitate to attack. These people had fought with Aoli for a while and discovered the relationship between Mo Qingyun and Aoli. They planned to capture the leader first to capture all the followers. Soon, a golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven flew towards Mo Qingyun with a cold smile. "Kid, you are just a golden celestial. How dare you join the battle? I think you are tired of living." When he came in front of Mo Qingyun, this person's cold smile became more obvious. He was like a hunter. In his opinion, no matter how strange Mo Qingyun was, his cultivation was still there. There was a difference of a whole realm between them. Mo Qingyun could not resist at all in front of this person. River floating cloud hand. A terrifying wave of immortal spiritual energy exploded from this person's hand and turned into a giant cloud-like palm. Soon, this giant cloud-like palm descended from the sky. Under the grip of this huge hand, all of Mo Qingyun's escape routes were blocked in an instant. "Very well, I will borrow your hand to test my strength." Faced with this situation, Mo Qingyun did not show any signs of panic. Instead, a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Recently, his cultivation had just broken through. He was worried that he could not find a sparring partner. This person was only at the firefly stage. As his sparring partner, he could not be more suitable. Demonic fist shattering the Milky Way. Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he saw the palms coming at him at high speed. He immediately threw a punch at the sky. A terrifying demonic aura exploded from Mo Qingyun's body and turned into a giant demonic shadow. On Mo Qingyun's fist, the black mist-like immortal spiritual energy quickly gathered and turned into a giant fist shadow. The shadow of a fist blasted out from Mo Qingyun's fist, and with an unstoppable momentum, it shattered the giant palm in the sky. He destroyed it. Looking at this scene, this person was immediately shocked. He could not believe Mo Qingyun's performance. He said, How is this possible? This kid is only at the golden immortal stage. How can he break my divine power?" After destroying the cloud with one punch, Mo Qingyun's figure did not stop. He immediately charged towards this person. After a few flashes, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of this person and punched towards him. "Kid, you've gone too far." Seeing Mo Qingyun take the initiative to attack him, this person's face immediately darkened. It was as if he had been humiliated. He was a golden immortal of the great all-embracing heaven. It was too embarrassing for him to be attacked by a golden immortal. This person shouted angrily. He rushed towards Mo Qingyun and fought with Mo Qingyun head-on. The longer this person fought with Mo Qingyun, the more frightened he became. He was terrified of Mo Qingyun's strength. Although Mo Qingyun was one stage lower than him, Mo Qingyun was stronger than him in both body and soul. This was too terrifying. If Mo Qingyun broke through to the golden immortal of the great all-embracing heaven, how terrifying would that be? The more this person thought about it, the more afraid he became. In the end, he did not even have the courage to fight. Chapter 1681. Brat, don't look down on me. Hearing Mo Qingyun's disdainful words, the man was immediately enraged and roared at Mo Qingyun. However, before he could finish his words, Mo Qingyun's fist came flying at him again, smashing into his chest in a domineering manner. Bang! After being hit by Mo Qingyun's punch, the man was immediately sent flying in the direction of Aoli and the others. After a while, the man flew to the side of the others, shocking those who were fighting Aoli. "Jiang Chao, what's going on? Why are you in such a sorry state when dealing with a golden immortal brat?" Seeing the man fly over, the others who were unaware of the situation asked in confusion. Hearing the complaints of others, Jiang Chao wanted to cry. Although Mo Qingyun was only a golden immortal, his true strength was comparable to a quasi-grand unity arcane immortal. He could be considered to be suffering in silence, unable to voice out his bitterness. "This brat is a little strange. He's not as simple as he seems on the surface." Hearing the words of the others, Jiang Chao had a bitter expression on his face as he tried to explain himself. The others did not believe Jiang Chao's explanation. One of them, who was at the sturdy soul stage, said coldly, "I don't believe that a golden immortal brat can be that strong. You and the others deal with this person. I'll go over and take care of that brat." "Shao Qi, that brat is very strange. Don't be careless." Seeing the man's actions, Jiang Chao's face was solemn as he hurriedly warned the man. Unfortunately, the man did not listen to his warning at all. Seeing this, Jiang Chao could only sigh helplessly and deal with Aoli with the others. After a while, the man called Shao Qi arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. Sturdy soul stage, slightly stronger than the man just now. He's a very good sparring partner. Seeing Shao Qi in front of him, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and his body emitted a fighting spirit. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of Shao Qi. A terrifying black mist-like immortal spiritual energy gathered on Mo Qingyun's fist, emitting a monstrous demonic aura. Under this demonic pressure, Shao Qi's expression suddenly trembled, and the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. At this moment, he finally understood. With Mo Qingyun's golden immortal cultivation base, why would Jiang Chao end up in such a sorry state when fighting against him? Judging from the current situation, Mo Qingyun's true combat strength was probably not much weaker than his. Before Shao Qi could recover from the shock in his heart, Mo Qingyun's fist was already nearing him. It was aimed directly at his face. Facing Mo Qingyun's punch, Shao Qi didn't dare to be careless. He immediately crossed his arms in front of him. Boom! When Mo Qingyun's fist landed on Shao Qi's arm, a muffled sound immediately rang out. A terrifying wave of energy erupted where the fist and arm collided, forming a terrifying storm of spiritual energy. Under the impact of the storm of spiritual energy, Mo Qingyun and Shao Qi were both pushed back 1,000 meters before coming to a stop. So strong! Feeling the swelling on his arm, Shao Qi was shocked, and the way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed again. After fighting with Mo Qingyun for a short time, his impression of Mo Qingyun had undergone a series of changes. The feeling that Mo Qingyun gave him now was that the stronger he got, the stronger he became. There was no upper limit to his strength. "This kid is too strange. We must defeat him with lightning speed." After seeing Mo Qingyun's strangeness, Shao Qi didn't dare to underestimate him and decided to end the battle quickly with Mo Qingyun. He wanted to end the battle quickly with Mo Qingyun, not only because of his fear of Mo Qingyun, but also because Jiang Chao and the others couldn't hold on any longer. If nothing unexpected happened, Aoli would kill Jiang Chao and the others in at most the time it would take to brew a cup of tea. Once Jiang Chao and the others were killed, he wouldn't be a match for Aoli with his soul-strengthening stage cultivation. Therefore, he must seize the time to defeat Mo Qingyun and escape with his life. Whoosh! While Shao Qi was pondering, Mo Qingyun turned into a stream of light and streaked across the sky like a meteor. In the blink of an eye, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Shao Qi and punched at him. Under Mo Qingyun's punch, the black immortal spiritual energy on his fist left behind a half-moon afterimage. Facing Mo Qingyun's attack, Shao Qi didn't dare to underestimate it and immediately resisted with all his strength. Then, Mo Qingyun and Shao Qi's figures flickered in the air. From the flickering figures of the two, it could be vaguely seen that Shao Qi had been suppressed all this while. This damned brat, how can he be so strong? Faced with Emo Qingyun's strong suppression, Shao Qi was so angry that his teeth itched. His heart was bitter beyond words. Now, he was regretting it to the extreme. If he had known that Emo Qingyun was so strong, he would have rather faced Aoli. At least there would be someone to share the pressure. Now that he was facing Emo Qingyun alone, he had become a target and was constantly attacked by Emo Qingyun. More importantly, Emo Qingyun's attacks were not heavy, as if he was afraid of crippling him. It's about time. While Shao Qi was feeling depressed, Emo Qingyun's voice sounded, as if his patience had run out. As soon as Emo Qingyun's words fell, he clearly felt that Emo Qingyun's attacks had become fiercer. He actually held back his strength in the fight just now. Although he had already guessed the result, Shao Qi still found it hard to accept it when he saw it with his own eyes. He was an expert in the peak soul stage of the Daluo Golden Celestial stage. How could he be defeated by someone in the Golden Celestial stage? Although he did not want to admit it, the truth was in front of him and he had to accept it. Boom! A muffled sound was heard. Under Emo Qingyun's punch, Shao Qi's body was sent flying. As Shao Qi was sent flying, blood flowed from the corner of his mouth and his face became as pale as paper. Brat, I admit that your body is very strong. Shao Qi steadied himself and fixed his dark eyes on Emo Qingyun. His expression gradually became ferocious as he said, but the real means of a golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven is not in tempering the body, but in cultivating the soul. Now, I will show you the real means of a golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven. Oh, is that so? The corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up slightly when he saw Shao Qi's reaction. He revealed a sliver of anticipation and said, if that's the case, then don't hold back. Otherwise, I won't be able to enjoy the battle later. Brat, take this. Seeing that Emo Qingyun was willing to have a soul battle with him, Shao Qi sneered, as if his evil plan had succeeded. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun's soul could not be equally strong with such a strong body. Soul seal of destruction. Shao Qi quickly formed a complicated seal with his hands and pointed it at his glabella. Immediately, the glabella of Shao Qi shone so brightly that no one could look directly at it. At the same time, a silver soul seal flew out from Shao Qi's glabella. Seeing Shao Qi's attack, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and a faint light flashed in his eyes. Ray! A black light flashed in Emo Qingyun's left eye, and a black line shot out toward the silver light seal. In the blink of an eye, the eye ray hit the silver light seal and instantly penetrated it. Crack! The silver light seal was penetrated, and it collapsed, emitting a crisp sound. This feeling was like a piece of glass that was pierced by a bullet. After the eye ray destroyed the silver light seal, its bombardment power did not decrease and continued to bombard Shao Qi. Without waiting for Shao Qi to express his shock, the eye ray blasted into his sea of consciousness and attacked it. Shao Qi was worthy of being a strong soul expert. His sea of consciousness was still very strong, like an endless wave. When the eye ray blasted into his sea of consciousness, it was like a bullet blasted into water, and his movement was greatly hindered. His sea of consciousness seems to be a little different. Emo Qingyun frowned slightly, and he was surprised to find that Shao Qi's sea of consciousness was different from ordinary people. Under normal circumstances, a person's sea of consciousness would become wider and wider, but it would also become stronger and stronger. Shao Qi's situation was the opposite. His sea of consciousness took the path of softening, and became like a real sea. Interesting. Although his attack failed, Emo Qingyun was not disappointed, and bombarded Shao Qi's sea of consciousness again. Soul prison. Bombarding Shao Qi's sea of consciousness again, Emo Qingyun did not use the tactic of fighting force with force. Instead, he surrounded Shao Qi's sea of consciousness. Soon, a terrifying soul power blasted into Shao Qi's sea of consciousness again, forming a huge soul net. What a strong soul power! Facing Emo Qingyun's soul power attack again, Shao Qi was shocked, and a chill ran down his spine. This kid's soul power is almost as strong as a spirit transformation expert. How is this possible? While Shao Qi was still in shock, the soul prison directly trapped Shao Qi's sea of consciousness and tightly suppressed it. When Shao Qi's sea of consciousness was suppressed, the soul hidden in his sea of consciousness felt as if it was being choked by the neck, and it was extremely painful. After a while, Shao Qi's soul screamed and escaped from his body. There was no other way. If his soul did not escape, it would be crushed by Emo Qingyun's soul power. Looks like you've run out of tricks. Then the battle should end. Seeing Shao Qi's soul escape, the corner of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled up, and a ray of light shot out from his left eye. A beam of light shot out from his eyes and instantly struck Shao Qi's soul, causing it to dissipate. After scattering Shao Qi's soul, Emo Qingyun did not go to help Aoli. Instead, he began to summarize the battle just now. Looking at it now, with my current shocking strength, if I don't use any of my abilities, I should be slightly stronger than a spirit-tempering stage cultivator, but it shouldn't be too obvious. Not long after, Aoli's battle also ended, leaving only one survivor. Master, how should we deal with this person? Aoli captured a spirit transformation stage cultivator and came to Emo Qingyun, asking for Emo Qingyun's opinion. Emo Qingyun glanced at the man, but was not in a hurry to make a move. Instead, he said to Aoli, "Take him with us first. I'll deal with him later." Chapter 1682. Whoosh! The cry of a crane was heard. The lightning cloud crane flapped its wings and flew thousands of miles away, disappearing into the horizon. Not long after, Emo Qingyun and his companion arrived at the foot of a mountain on their lightning cloud cranes. Plop! Landing at the foot of the mountain, Aoli threw the man on the ground and stared at him coldly. Looking at Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun in front of him, this person was so scared that his body trembled. His face was filled with fear and panic as he said, "You! What do you want? What do we want? Shouldn't you be the one asking this?" Emo Qingyun sneered and his expression gradually turned cold. He turned to Aoli and ordered, "Aoli, control this man. I'll use a secret technique to steal his memory." "Yes, master." Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, Aoli immediately nodded and took action to restrain this person. Demonic soul-stealing eyes. While Aoli was controlling the man, Emo Qingyun immediately used a divine ability to forcibly steal the man's memory. A terrifying soul force exploded from Emo Qingyun's eyes, forming a huge eye. When the huge eye was formed, it emitted a tearing force that sucked in the man's soul. The man screamed as his soul was forcibly torn. His body trembled and his face turned as pale as paper. Soon, his soul was forcibly pulled out of his body. As his soul was pulled out of his body, the man's eyes immediately became empty, without a trace of light. What a domineering divine ability! Seeing Emo Qingyun's method, Aoli's expression couldn't help but tremble. He was even more in awe of Emo Qingyun. The more he interacted with Emo Qingyun, the more he realized that Emo Qingyun was mysterious and extraordinary. While Aoli was shocked, Emo Qingyun put on a solemn expression and began to forcibly read the man's memory. As Emo Qingyun was stealing the man's memory, his soul began to dissipate bit by bit. The man's soul began to dissipate and the aura he emitted began to weaken. After about the time it took to brew a cup of tea, this person's memories and soul dissipated, and his aura also completely disappeared. Plop! As his soul completely dissipated, the man's body stiffened and fell forward. Emo Qingyun turned a blind eye to this person's death, and his expression became even colder. "Master, what's wrong?" Seeing that Emo Qingyun's expression wasn't right, Aoli tensed up and immediately asked Emo Qingyun. Ting Zhao's determination to kill me is much greater than I imagined. Emo Qingyun's face was cold as he replied to Aoli, right now, the entire Divine Wasteland domain is covered with our wanted posters. Those wanted posters have our images on them, so it will not be easy to travel in the future. Then what should we do? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Aoli's face turned solemn and his expression immediately tensed up. According to the current situation, as long as they walked out, they would immediately be noticed. It was fine if it happened once or twice, but if it continued for a long time, it wouldn't be a problem. More importantly, if they continued to be chased like this, their travel time would be delayed indefinitely. You're too conspicuous riding the lightning cloud crane. I can't let you travel anymore. After some thought, Emo Qingyun immediately made a decision. He felt that it was inappropriate to let Aoli travel. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Aoli's expression immediately changed. With a worried expression, he said, "Master, if we let Lian Hong and the others travel, they might not be able to deal with a sudden situation." In Aoli's view, if he wasn't in charge of traveling, then he could only let Lian Hong and the others do it. "No, I don't plan to let Lian Hong and the others travel. I've decided to ride the lightning cloud crane myself." Regarding Aoli's concerns, Emo Qingyun explained his plan in a deep voice. "Master, you want to travel by yourself?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's decision, Aoli's eyes widened, thinking that he had misheard. In his view, if Emo Qingyun traveled by himself, wouldn't it delay his cultivation time? Seeing the change in Aoli's expression, Emo Qingyun immediately guessed his thoughts. He explained, "If I encounter trouble along the way, I won't be able to cultivate in peace. Since that's the case, it's better to let me travel by myself." But, after hearing Emo Qingyun's analysis, Aoli's expression changed. It seemed that he wanted to say something. Without waiting for Aoli to speak, Emo Qingyun raised his hand and interrupted him. He said, "I have some special abilities that can prevent others from tracking me. Therefore, it's more suitable for me to travel by myself." Emo Qingyun paused for a moment, looked at Aoli and said, "Besides, while I'm traveling, you can also follow by my side and deal with some breakthroughs." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Aoli didn't try to persuade him anymore. He felt that Emo Qingyun's words made sense. Then Aoli's figure flashed, and he entered Emo Qingyun's soul palace. After putting Aoli into his soul palace, Missouri Qingyun leaped onto the lightning cloud crane's back. Then Emo Qingyun rode the lightning cloud crane and rushed towards the heavenly soul demons. The lightning cloud crane flew extremely quickly. In the blink of an eye, it flew out of the mountain range and arrived in the sky above a city. Just as Emo Qingyun was about to pass through the city, he saw a group of powerful people patrolling the sky above the city. These people are patrolling the sky above the city. Are they trying to stop me? Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat, and he instinctively had this thought. In his view, normal city patrols wouldn't patrol the sky above the city. Whether or not they are, I still have to be careful. After being chased time and time again, Emo Qingyun was already a little paranoid. No matter what, there was nothing wrong with being careful. Door of concealment. Emo Qingyun put away the lightning cloud crane and used the door of concealment to hide himself. Emo Qingyun's silhouette dissipated in midair. He flew towards these people, wanting to see what they were up to. "Captain, the wild continent is vast and boundless. Is it really useful for us to wait here like this?" "It's not up to us to decide whether it's useful or not. We'll just be responsible for patrolling." Speaking of which, that Emo Qingyun is really not simple. He can actually make the young lord of the heavenly soul demons chase after him. What do you know? The young lord of the heavenly soul demons is chasing after Emo Qingyun. It must be because Emo Qingyun is a threat to him. As Emo Qingyun approached these people, their conversation entered Emo Qingyun's ears. Hearing these people's conversation, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately changed. His face turned cold as he said, "As expected, these people are patrolling in midair to intercept me. It seems that I still underestimated Ting Zhao's ability." Emo Qingyun calmed down. He didn't hesitate any longer and immediately flew towards the outskirts of the city. In a short while, Emo Qingyun was far away from the city and out of their surveillance area. After leaving the city's surveillance area, Emo Qingyun summoned the lightning cloud crane and continued on his way. Compared to the lightning cloud crane's flying speed, his flying speed was undoubtedly too slow. Not long after, a huge sea appeared in front of Emo Qingyun. In the sky above this sea area, there were gloomy black clouds drifting, flashing with terrifying lightning. According to the map's description, this sea should be the rolling lightning devil sea. Riding the lightning cloud crane into the sea, Emo Qingyun took out the map and compared it with his eyes. After confirming his direction, Emo Qingyun put away the map and continued on his journey on the lightning cloud crane. Boom, boom, boom. The rolling lightning devil sea lived up to its name. Just as he flew into the rolling lightning devil sea, lightning as thick as a water tank fell beside Emo Qingyun. Looking at the thunder and lightning in front of him, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He couldn't help but feel a lingering fear. He exclaimed, "What a terrifying thunder and lightning! Judging from the power of this thunder and lightning, even a golden celestial of the great all-embracing heaven would be annihilated." Emo Qingyun sighed in his heart. He raised his guard and carefully rode the lightning cloud crane forward. The deeper he flew into the rolling lightning devil sea, the more violent the lightning became. The frequency of the lightning also increased. In some places, it even formed a lightning pool, covering an area with a diameter of 10,000 miles. Because of the interference of the lightning, Emo Qingyun's speed was greatly affected. "I can't go on like this. With my current speed, it will take me at least a few months to fly out of the rolling lightning devil sea." Seeing his current speed, Emo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly, and his mood became somewhat irritable. Boom, boom. At this moment, when Emo Qingyun was feeling irritable, a loud sound suddenly came. Immediately, hundreds of terrifying lightning bolts fell from the sky above Emo Qingyun. Not good, I seem to have entered the lightning pool area. Looking at this situation, Emo Qingyun was shocked and felt a strong sense of unease. Judging from the situation before him, once he was hit by the lightning, his soul would be destroyed. Teleportation gate. Seeing that the situation was not right, Emo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate and immediately used his martial spirit super ability. A whirlpool-like light gate quickly gathered in front of Emo Qingyun and emitted a mysterious power. When the teleportation gate was formed, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and quickly rushed into the gate. When Emo Qingyun rushed into the teleportation gate, the lightning cloud crane was too late and was hit by a lightning bolt as thick as a water tank. After being hit by the lightning bolt, the lightning cloud crane let out a miserable cry and was instantly turned into ashes. Looking at the scene before him, Emo Qingyun, who had entered the teleportation gate, was so frightened that his pupils shrank. That was close. If he was half a step slower, he would have met the same fate as the lightning cloud crane. After a short while, Emo Qingyun's figure appeared in another place. His expression became even more serious. The lightning cloud crane was killed by the lightning. With my flying speed, it's absolutely impossible for me to travel through the lightning. Chapter 1683. Splash, just as Emo Qingyun was pondering, the sound of waves could be heard from the rolling thunder devil sea. A girl in blue flew out from the bottom of the sea, her body emitting a dazzling golden light. The girl in blue flew out from the bottom of the sea. She turned into a ray of light and flew towards a lightning pool. Could it be that she wants to? Seeing the girl in blue's actions, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He guessed the girl's thoughts. If he was not wrong, the girl in blue wanted to use the power of lightning to temper her body. As expected, the blue-clothed girl flew to the vicinity of the lightning pool. She walked towards the lightning pool. Asterisk chi chi chi. Asterisk the girl in blue walked into the lightning pool, and the violent lightning bolts in the lightning pool bombarded the girl. What shocked Emo Chinyun was that when the lightning bolt struck the blue-clothed girl's body, it didn't cause her any harm. What a strong body! Emo Chinyun was shocked when he saw this, and he couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He thought that his body was already very strong, but it was far from the girl in blue. After discovering this, Emo Chinyun's eyes immediately lit up. He knew why the blue-clothed girl was different from ordinary people. This girl is only at the golden body sculpting realm. For her body to be so strong, it should be because of the tempering of the lightning pool. I am at the same realm as the girl. Why can't I use the lightning pool to temper my body like her? Thinking of this, Emo Chinyun did not hesitate. He planned to cultivate like the girl. He smiled faintly. Going to the Heavenly Soul Devil tribe is important, but increasing my strength is also important. Now that I have the chance to temper my body, it would be a pity if I don't use it. If this girl can do it, I can do it too. Emo Chinyun believed that with his absolute beginning blood's recovery ability, it would be easier for him to cultivate than the girl in blue. Then, Emo Chinyun looked around and walked towards a lightning pool. The power of the lightning in this lightning pool could be considered to be the weakest among the many lightning pools. To ensure his safety, Emo Chinyun did not choose the strongest lightning pool. He planned to slowly cultivate from the weakest lightning pool. Boom boom boom. The moment Emo Chinyun stepped into the lightning pool, the lightning in the lightning pool immediately went berserk and attacked him. Wounds immediately appeared on Emo Chinyun's body as he was bombarded by the lightning. Wounds appeared on Emo Chinyun's body, but the grand primordium fortune blood in his body immediately healed them. In just a short moment, the wounds on Emo Chinyun's body had completely disappeared. Of course, when the old wounds disappeared, the new ones would follow. Emo Chinyun did not care about this. He sat down cross-legged on the spot and endured the lightning strikes. It didn't make sense that a weak girl could bear this kind of pain, but he couldn't. Immediately after, Emo Chinyun's old wounds healed, and new ones appeared one after another. There's someone in the lightning pool. Emo Chinyun made use of the lightning to temper his body and caused quite a commotion. It immediately attracted the attention of the girl in blue. The girl in blue glanced at Emo Chinyun, and a mocking smile appeared on her lips. She said disdainfully, "Ridiculous. Seeing that I'm using the lightning to temper my body, you want to follow me. I'll see how you'll be turned into ashes by the lightning." The blue-clothed young lady sneered. She then closed her eyes and ignored Emo Chinyun by her side. In her opinion, it wouldn't be long before Emo Chinyun was reduced to ashes under the bombardment of lightning. Time passed by slowly. Emo Chinyun's physical strength increased bit by bit as he suffered the constant bombardment of lightning. Although this increase was not fast, it was much faster than using the power of incense to temper his body. More importantly, when Emo Chinyun used the power of incense to temper his body, he could also use the power of lightning to temper his body. In this way, Emo Chinyun's body had undergone a second round of tempering. Time always passed quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. After 10 days of cultivation, the girl in blue finally could not hold on any longer and retreated from her cultivation. The girl in blue exited from her cultivation. She was obviously tired and there were many injuries on her body. From this, it seemed that the continuous bombardment of lightning had exhausted her both physically and mentally. If this continued, she would be left with injuries that would be difficult to recover from. The girl in blue exited her cultivation. Her eyes unconsciously glanced at Emo Chinyun. When she saw that Emo Chinyun was still sitting on the ground like an old tree, enduring the lightning strikes, she said in shock, He's still cultivating. This is his first time cultivating here. How can he last so long? Emo Qingyun's current performance had shocked the blue-clothed girl quite a bit. Her previous understanding of him had been shattered. She clearly remembered that she had only lasted for 2 hours and was hailed as the #1 genius in the clan. At that time, she was complacent for such an achievement for a long time. Now that she thought about it, the gap between her and Emo Qingyun really wasn't small at all. I'd like to see how long you can last. Perhaps it was because her competitive spirit had been aroused. Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, the girl pouted stubbornly. Immediately, the girl activated a magic treasure, which emitted an ethereal holy aura. This Dharma treasure was actually a quasi-saint artifact. The magic treasure flew out of the girl's hand and turned into a huge conch, which wrapped the girl in it. With the protection of the magic treasure, the surrounding lightning's corrosion on the girl was immediately reduced to the minimum. The girl in blue sat in the conch magic treasure and entered a state of cultivation to recover from the lightning strikes. Although the girl in blue was recovering from her injuries, her attention was always on Emo Qingyun. She wanted to know how long Emo Qingyun could last. A day passed and Emo Qingyun did not move. 2 days passed and Emo Qingyun was still the same. More than 10 days passed, and Emo Qingyun still did not move an inch. How is this possible? How can he last so long? Looking at Emo Qingyun's performance, the shock in the blue-clothed girl's heart immediately intensified. After more than 10 days of cultivation, her injuries were completely healed. Even so, she did not leave, nor did she continue to cultivate. Instead, she paid full attention to Emo Qingyun. She wanted to see how long this guy in front of her could last. The longer she waited, the more shocked the girl in blue was. Her view of Emo Qingyun changed. Now, her attitude towards Emo Qingyun was no longer one of mockery. Instead, there was endless admiration. A person who could last more than 20 days in his first cultivation in lightning was worthy of her admiration. Just like that, more than 10 days passed. At this moment, Emo Qingyun, who was cultivating, shook his head and stood up. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, the girl in blue was shocked. She said with a shocked expression, "He can't take it anymore? This guy is too scary. It's his first time cultivating in the lightning pool, and he can last for a month." Thinking back to how long Emo Qingyun lasted, the girl in blue was shocked. She was extremely impressed with Emo Qingyun. However, at this moment, the girl in blue thought that Emo Qingyun could not take it anymore. Emo Qingyun's next move, however, stunned her. After a month of continuous cultivation, the lightning in this area can no longer cause any harm to my body. Emo Qingyun sighed. He walked towards the depths of the thunder pool, intending to endure even more powerful lightning strikes. After a while, Emo Qingyun walked for about 100 meters before he stopped. The lightning in this area could cause damage to his body. It was within his tolerance range. He's going to continue cultivating? Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, the girl in blue felt dizzy. She felt like her brain was not enough. She originally thought that Emo Qingyun, like her, would not be able to take it anymore. Who knew that Emo Qingyun thought that the lightning was not strong enough and wanted to find a place with strong lightning to continue cultivating. This kind of action was too terrifying. Who is this guy? After seeing how extraordinary Emo Qingyun was, the girl in blue was extremely curious about Emo Qingyun's identity. Soon after, the blue-clothed girl began to cultivate in the conch magic treasure while paying attention to Emo Qingyun. The rest of the time passed by peacefully just like that. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. In these 3 months, the girl in blue did not leave. She witnessed Emo Qingyun's growth. In the beginning, Emo Qingyun chose the place with the weakest lightning. Then, he changed the place with the strongest lightning. In the end, Emo Qingyun chose a place with lightning that surpassed the limits of the girl in blue. What caused the blue-clothed girl to vomit blood even more was that Emo Chinyun had been cultivating in the Thunder Pool for 4 months without even resting. This was far too insane. Hey, you have been cultivating for 4 months. Don't you find it boring? At this moment, the girl in blue could no longer hold it in. She asked Emo Chinyun. Hearing the girl in blue's question, Emo Chinyun's expression froze. He wanted to make sure that she was not talking to him. Seeing that the girl in blue was looking at him, Emo Chinyun revealed a faint smile. Of course it's boring. But in the face of great pressure and danger, I have no other choice. After Emo Chinyun spoke, he continued to walk into the lightning pool. He was ready to use the lightning to strengthen his body. What a strange person! Seeing what Emo Chinyun was doing, the girl in blue pouted. She was very curious about Emo Chinyun. At this moment, the blue-clothed girl was sizing up Emo Chinyun with curiosity. Suddenly, several silhouettes flew out from the bottom of the ocean and stopped beside the girl in blue. One of them said, "Lan Kuei, we found a ruin at the Strait of Biemo. Do you want to come with us?" Strait of Biemo? Ruin? Hearing these people's words, the girl in blue's eyes brightened. She was tempted. Chapter 1684. The blue-robed girl hesitated for a moment before deciding to call Emo Chinyun along. The blue girl's figure flashed and stopped near the thunder pool. She shouted at Emo Chinyun, who was in the thunder pool, "Hey, we found a ruin and need some helpers to go with us. Are you interested?" Ruin? Hearing the girl's words, Emo Chinyun stopped cultivating and turned to look at the blue-robed girl. He asked, "I don't know you. Why are you calling me along? Aren't you afraid that I'll try something?" From Emo Chinyun's point of view, he wasn't familiar with the blue-robed girl. For her to invite him to explore the ruin with her was a little too enthusiastic. Emo Chinyun couldn't help but be wary of the blue-clothed girl when it came to such matters. After all, it was hard to guess what the other person was thinking. Of course, Emo Chinyun's words were very subtle and he didn't directly question the other party. Instead, he asked the blue-robed girl why she believed him and gave her a way out. Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, the blue-robed girl revealed a trace of displeasure. She glared at Emo Chinyun and said, You and I have been cultivating in the lightning pool for almost half a year. Although we haven't spoken to each other, we have known each other for a long time. How can we be considered strangers?" Emo Chinyun was speechless. He couldn't refute the blue-robed girl. According to the blue-robed girl's words, he and the blue-robed girl were indeed familiar with each other. Seeing that Emo Chinyun didn't speak, the blue-clothed girl snorted arrogantly. She pouted unhappily and said, "You take my good intentions for ill intent. I invited you warmly, but you actually doubt my intentions." Hearing the blue-robed girl's words, Emo Chinyun's expression froze and he couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. From the blue-robed girl's actions, she didn't seem like a scheming person. It seemed like she really invited Emo Chinyun. Seeing Emo Chinyun's bitter smile and not giving her an answer, the blue-clothed girl urged Emo Chinyun, "Hey, have you thought it through? Do you want to come with us? Since Miss has invited me like this, if I don't go, wouldn't I be too unappreciative?" Emo Chinyun smiled faintly. He walked out of the lightning pool and accepted the blue-robed girl's invitation. Seeing Emo Chinyun arrive in front of her, the blue-clothed girl's expression turned for the better. She revealed a proud smile and said, "At least you know your place. You didn't waste my good intentions. Let's go." As soon as the blue-clothed girl finished speaking, she revealed a brilliant smile and flew towards her friends. Seeing the blue-clothed girl's actions, Emo Chinyun shook his head with a bitter smile and followed behind the blue-clothed girl. Of course, Emo Chinyun was quite fond of the blue-clothed girl's personality. There was no need to scheme when interacting with people like her. It was a very relaxing thing. Very quickly, Emo Chinyun and the blue-clothed girl arrived in front of her friends. "Lan Kuei, who is this person?" Seeing Emo Chinyun beside the blue-clothed girl, A man with blood-red eyes looked unkindly at Emo Qingyun. "Brother Lan Quan, he is a new friend that I made when I was cultivating in the lightning pool." Hearing the man with blood-red eyes question, Lan Kuei gave a simple explanation of how she met Emo Qingyun to the crowd. After Lan Kuei finished speaking, an awkward smile appeared on her face. She blinked her bright eyes and asked, "That's right, I have known you for so long, but I still don't know your name." Everyone was speechless. How could they be considered friends when they didn't even know each other's names? Hearing Lan Kuei's question, Emo Qingyun smiled bitterly and said, "My name is Emo Qingyun. All right, I don't care what your name is. Since Lan Kuei invited you, then come with us." A man with a long beard said impatiently as he waved his hand at Emo Qingyun. "Pang Su is right. We have already been delayed for a long time. Let's set off immediately." Hearing the man's words, everyone agreed and decided to head to the Jade Devil Strait immediately. Soon after, Emo Qingyun and the rest set off for the Jade Devil Strait. Bang bang bang, Lan Kuei and the others leaped directly into the rolling Thunder Devil Sea, stirring up waves after wave. In the blink of an eye, their figures disappeared from Emo Qingyun's sight. The Jade Devil Strait is at the bottom of the sea? Seeing the actions of Lan Kuei and the rest, Emo Qingyun was stunned. He was very surprised by this situation. It seemed that the Jade Devil Strait they were talking about was somewhere at the bottom of the sea. Emo Qingyun was stunned for a moment. He quickly followed and dived into the sea with the rest. As Emo Qingyun dived into the sea, he was shocked. His view of the world was refreshed. He didn't expect that there would be so many magnificent palaces and elegant courtyards at the bottom of the rolling lightning Devil Sea. It seemed that the tribes living at the bottom of the sea were no different from the tribes living on land. It seems that I knew too little about the world at the bottom of the sea. Emo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. As Emo Qingyun dived deeper into the sea, the pressure of the seawater increased, making Emo Qingyun feel very uncomfortable. Domain Gate. In order to relieve the pressure of the seawater, Emo Qingyun used the Domain Gate to disperse the surrounding seawater. As the seawater was dispersed by Emo Qingyun's expression relaxed and he felt much more comfortable. Hey, he actually dispersed the seawater. Could it be that he's not from a tribe at the bottom of the sea? Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, Lan Kuei's beautiful eyes blinked and a trace of surprise appeared on her face. All along, Lan Kuei thought that Emo Qingyun's identity was a member of a tribe at the bottom of the sea. Judging from Emo Qingyun's situation, her guess seemed to be wrong. Emo Qingyun might be from a tribe on land. Immediately, Lan Kuei's figure moved and came to Emo Qingyun's side. She asked curiously, "Hey, you dispersed the seawater to the side. Could it be that you're not from a tribe at the bottom of the sea?" "Yes." Emo Qingyun didn't hide from Lan Kuei's inquiry. He nodded and said, "I'm from a tribe in the Divine Wasteland Domain. I was preparing to go to the Devil Wasteland Domain and just happened to pass by here." From the Divine Wasteland Domain to the Devil Wasteland Domain? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei's eyebrows immediately widened. Her face was full of shock. Although she lived in the rolling Thunder Devil Sea, she was still very clear about the distance between the two wasteland domains. Under normal circumstances, even an expert of the Golden Immortal stage would find it difficult to cross the two wasteland domains. Emo Qingyun, who was only at the Golden Body Formation stage, actually wanted to cross the two wasteland domains. It had to be said that his actions were very frightening. Do you know the distance between the two wasteland domains? With your flying speed, it will take at least a few decades to reach it. Lan Kuei's beautiful eyes widened as she asked Emo Qingyun one after another to vent the shock in her heart. "Of course I know." Emo Qingyun nodded. With an indifferent expression, he replied, "Mortals have always said that as long as I work hard, an iron pestle can be ground into a needle. I believe that as long as I can persevere, I will definitely be able to resist the Devil Wasteland Domain. It's just a matter of time." Emo Qinyun didn't explain the real situation, so as not to cause unnecessary trouble. Seeing Emo Qinyun think this way, Lan Kuei didn't say anything more. She admired Emo Qinyun even more. Knowing the distance between the two wasteland domains, Emo Qinyun was still able to put it into action. This was very admirable. Next, Lan Kuei chatted with Emo Qinyun, constantly asking about the matters on the land. For example, what fun things were there on the land and what beautiful clothes were there on the land. In addition, Lan Kuei also asked Emo Qinyun if the cultivation talent of the people on the land was the same as Emo Qinyun. From this, it seemed that the cultivation talent that Emo Qinyun displayed had shocked Lan Kuei quite a bit. As a result, he had a great misconception about the cultivation talent of the people on the land. Although Emo Qinyun felt helpless towards Lan Kuei's questions, he still answered her one by one. On the way, while Emo Qinyun and Lan Kuei were talking, whenever they encountered any strange scenes or strange creatures, Lan Kuei would still introduce them to Emo Qinyun. Along the way, the two of them chatted quite happily. Lan Quan and the others didn't pay any attention to Emo Qinyun and Lan Kuei's actions and focused on hurrying along. Just like this, about 3 days later. As Emo Qinyun and the others hurried along, they arrived in front of a huge canyon and saw many people waiting there. This was the Jade Demon Strait. From the looks of it, the people here were all here to seek opportunities. They're here too. Looking at the people in front of them, Pang Su and the others' expressions immediately became serious, revealing a trace of fear. Seeing Pang Su and the others' reactions, Emo Qinyun's expression slightly changed, and he followed Pang Su and the others' gazes. He saw a group of people with red scales looking at Pang Su and the others with sinister smiles, saying, "Pang Su, you weak fellows actually dare to come here? Aren't you afraid of being crushed by us?" As this person spoke, he even waved his pair of huge pincers. Seeing this person's arrogance, Lan Kuei's beautiful eyes glared angrily, as if she was about to attack. She shouted, "Bao Feng, don't be too arrogant. Do you believe that I won't smash your pincers with one punch?" Seeing Lan Kuei's actions, this person called Bao Feng immediately revealed a fearful expression. It was obvious that he was still very afraid of Lan Kuei's powerful body. Trash! Seeing that Bao Feng was no longer arrogant, Lan Kuei's expression turned for the better, and she said disdainfully. Hearing Lan Kuei's words, Bao Feng was both angry and afraid. His expression was unfriendly, and he looked at Lan Kuei with a dark gaze. Pop, pop, pop! At this moment, a string of bubbles suddenly appeared in the interior of the Jade Demon Strait. In the middle of these bubbles, everyone could faintly see a black shadow slowly floating up. This black shadow was very large, and it gave people a vague feeling, as if it was a boundless continent. Seeing this scene, Qin Yun's eyes flashed, and he clearly saw the black shadow in the bubbles. The black shadow hidden behind the bubbles was indeed a boundless continent, and there were many ancient palaces on it. What surprised Emo Qinyun the most was the stone carvings on the palaces. They were actually beauties with fishtails. Chapter 1685. Merman. Looking at the statue above the palace, Missouri Qingyun's expression was slightly shocked, a feeling of surprise welling up in his heart. He had heard some rumors about mermen before. This was a very ancient large race. Before the 10,000 ancient races roll appeared, they had once dominated the entire wasteland continent. Mermen had unique talents. They were born with the ability to control seawater and execute divine abilities that could overturn rivers and seas. Especially when cultivating water-type divine abilities, that speed was even more rapid, making all the races feel powerless. Rumor had it that when the wasteland continent was in its primitive state, 99% of the place was ocean. At that time, the land area was very small. The entire situation of the wasteland continent was completely dominated by the races of the ocean. Under such favorable conditions, with the mermen's terrifying talent, It was hard not to rule the wasteland continent even if they did not want to. Unfortunately, as times continued to change, the oceans of the wasteland continent became less and less, and land became more and more. Such an unforeseen event caught the merman clansmen unprepared. Losing their unique advantage, the mermen also lost their era of hegemony. But the matter did not end here. The merman race that once dominated the wasteland continent offended many races. As the saying went, everyone kicks a man who is down. The merman race's strength weakened. Some of the clansmen who were once oppressed naturally thought of ways to take revenge. Until one day, a revenge against the mermen completely erupted on the wasteland continent. After that battle, the merfolk completely disappeared from the wasteland continent. As for whether they were exterminated or hid in some place to recuperate like the Dark Devil race, that was something that no one knew. All in all, from these aspects one could tell how old this ruin was. Merman? You can see the scene in the Jade Devil Strait clearly? Hearing Emo Qingyun's surprised words, Lan Kuei opened her beautiful eyes wide, feeling somewhat incredulous about this. Her current performance, no one knew if she was surprised by Emo Qingyun's ability or surprised by how old this ruin was. At the same time, Lan Kuei's gaze when looking at Emo Qingyun also underwent a huge change. In response to Lan Kuei's question, Emo Qingyun did not deny it and directly nodded. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the blue flower horse was shocked. It said in surprise, "I am from the purple-eyed blood dragon race. My eyesight is far better than ordinary people's. Even I couldn't see the scene inside. I didn't expect you to be able to see it. What race are you?" It had to be said that Emo Qingyun's answer shocked Lan Kuei quite a bit. So much so that she, who had always been calm, actually asked about Emo Qingyun's secret. Heavenly Soul Demons. In response to Lan Kuei's question, Emo Qingyun replied with a faint smile, not intending to hide anything. Emo Qingyun felt that once he fought with others and used the power of his bloodline, his origin would be exposed. In that case, he had nothing to hide and might as well tell Lan Kuei directly. Heavenly Soul Demons. Hearing Emo Qingyun's answer, Lan Kuei's eyes immediately widened. She showed some frustration and said, "So you're from a race like that? No wonder your eyesight is better than mine and your cultivation talent is so shocking." Emo Qingyun only smiled faintly in response to Lan Kuei's reaction. He did not say anything. Lan Kuei was not a sentimental person. After a brief moment of frustration, her eyes lit up. She said, "Since you can see the scene inside clearly, tell us the situation inside in detail." "All right." Emo Qingyun nodded and agreed to Lan Kuei's request. Afterwards, Emo Qingyun described the situation inside the Jade Devil Strait to everyone in detail. Lan Kuei and the others were all surprised when they heard Emo Qingyun's description. They were filled with anticipation for the remains. If it really was as Emo Qingyun had said, there would definitely be countless treasures in the remains. Time slowly passed. About 5 days later, the bubbles in the Jade Devil Strait stopped coming out. As the bubbles stopped coming out, the scene in the canyon gradually became clear. When Lan Kuei and the others looked at the canyon, they all became excited. It really was as Emo Qingyun had said. This is the remains of the merfolk? A remnant from before the 10,000 ancient races? The merfolk once ruled over the desolate continent. There must be countless treasures in their remains. We're going to be rich this time. If I can obtain a saint artifact, I'll be able to change my fate. Everyone in the surroundings became excited when they saw the remains of the merfolk before them. Greed appeared in their eyes. However, although everyone was excited, no one dared to act rashly. They charged into the Jade Devil Strait. "Miss Lan Kuei, the remains have already appeared. Why isn't anyone doing anything?" Emo Qingyun was puzzled when he saw the situation before him. He asked Lan Kuei, who was beside him. Lan Quan, who was beside Lan Kuei, had a solemn expression when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said, "According to the people who discovered this place, one must ride on the merfolk's tear to enter the remains of the merfolk. Otherwise, once one approaches the remains of the merfolk, one will be killed by a powerful force." "I see." Mo Qingyun had an enlightened expression. He understood the reason behind it, and the doubts in his heart were answered. No wonder these guys were like wolves and tigers but did not dare to enter the remains of the merfolk. Another incense stick of time passed. Just as everyone was anxiously waiting, milky white light spots flew out from the remains of the merfolk. The merfolk's tear had appeared. Everyone became excited when they saw the milky white light spot. They all sharpened their weapons. Soon, the merfolk's tear flew out of the remains and stopped outside the remains of the merfolk. Everyone was excited when they saw this scene. They quickly flew toward the merfolk's tear. "Get lost, the merfolk's tear is mine. Whoever dares to snatch the merfolk's tear from me, I'll let him die a horrible death." "Humph! You're courting death." In a short while, everyone's eyes turned red and they started fighting over the merfolk's tear. Mo Qingyun turned to look at Lan Kuei when he saw this scene. He wanted to know what they were thinking. Lan Kuei and the rest ignored Mo Qingyun's gaze. They frowned and looked at Bao Feng and the rest. It seemed that they were very wary of Bao Feng and the rest. These guys were all covered in scales and had thick skin. They were not easy to deal with. Amidst the intense competition, there were people who were constantly being killed, and their divine souls were completely destroyed. However, this situation did not deter them. Instead, it made them even crazier. The merfolk's tear is no longer increasing. After about 15 minutes, Mo Qingyun frowned and reminded Lan Kuei and the rest, "It seems that we can't wait any longer. Otherwise, once the merfolk's tear is taken away, we won't be able to enter the remains of the merfolk. Let's go." Lan Quan and the rest did not hesitate when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They immediately rushed toward the merfolk's tear. When they went to fight for the merfolk's tear, Mo Qingyun put on a solemn expression and told Lan Kuei, "When we fight for the merfolk's tear, don't be too far away from me. I'll help you fight for a merfolk's tear." "Okay." Lan Kuei was overjoyed when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She smiled and followed behind Mo Qingyun. Lan Quan was displeased when he saw Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei moving forward. He said, "Kid, we brought you along. I hope you won't drag Lan Kuei down." "Clan brother Lan Quan, he's not dragging me down. He's prepared to take care of me," Lan Kuei immediately explained when she saw that Lan Quan had misunderstood Mo Qingyun. She hoped that Lan Quan would change his impression of Mo Qingyun. Lan Quan's expression improved slightly when he heard Lan Kuei's explanation. However, he still said coldly, "Kid, if anything happens to Lan Kuei, I'll definitely hold you accountable." It was clear that Lan Quan did not believe that Mo Qingyun had the ability to protect Lan Kuei. With that, Lan Quan no longer paid any attention to Mo Qingyun. He focused on guarding against the people around him. Under these circumstances, he did not dare to split his attention and pay attention to Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei. This was because if he was careless, he could be ambushed by the people around him and end up doomed. Perhaps because they were worried that Mo Qingyun would drag them down, Lan Quan and the others purposely flew into the distance and distanced themselves from Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun sighed and shook his head when he saw Lan Quan and the others' actions. He said, "Your clan brother and the others have distanced themselves from me. I'm afraid that I won't be able to take care of them later." In Mo Qingyun's eyes, Lan Quan and the others' actions were completely gauging the stature of a gentleman. He could not be blamed for this. Lan Kuei glanced at Lan Quan and the others when she heard Mo Qingyun's words. She withdrew her gaze and said, "Don't worry. With clan brother Lan Quan and the others' strength, they won't be in any danger. There's only that girl Lan Kuei. Let's take care of her first." Bao Feng revealed a sinister smile when he saw Lan Kuei beside Mo Qingyun. He flew over with his men. Not long after, Bao Feng and the others surrounded Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei, each of them revealing a mocking smile. In their eyes, Mo Qingyun and Lan Kuei were basically dead meat now that they had surrounded them. Bao Feng, if you dare to touch Lan Kuei, I will annihilate your Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Lan Quan's expression turned cold when he saw Bao Feng's actions. He angrily shouted at Bao Feng. Bao Feng clearly did not take Lan Quan's words to heart. He sneered, Lan Quan, I, Bao Feng, am not a coward. If you have the ability, then come and fight me. Bao Feng sneered after replying to Lan Quan. He glanced at Mo Qingyun and said, Kid, this has nothing to do with you. If you know what's good for you, then scram to the side so that you don't lose your life in vain. Although Mo Qingyun's cultivation level was not high, Mo Qingyun's aura made Bao Feng's heart palpitate. When this feeling appeared, Bao Feng immediately became wary of Mo Qingyun. He did not dare to act rashly against Mo Qingyun. The corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth rose slightly when he heard Bao Feng's words. He smiled faintly and said, Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. If you retreat now, I can forgive your offense. With Mo Qingyun's current strength, it was too easy for him to deal with Bao Feng and the others. Chapter 1686. Humph. You're not even fully grown and you want to threaten us? I, Bao Feng, won't fall for your trick. Hearing Mo Qingyun's cold words, Bao Feng's face darkened and he scolded Mo Qingyun. As soon as Bao Feng's words fell, he led his men to surround Mo Qingyun, intending to start with Mo Qingyun. Seeing Bao Feng and the others' actions, Lan Kuei was shocked and immediately whispered to Mo Qingyun, They outnumber us. I'm afraid the two of us are no match for them. Why don't we avoid them for the time being? Don't worry, it's just a little bug. Hearing Lan Kuei's worried words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and looked at Bao Feng coldly, saying, Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Devil Fist, shattering the Star River. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he threw a punch at Bao Feng and the others, exuding a terrifying aura. A soul-stirring immortal spiritual power gathered on Mo Qingyun's fist, like a dancing devil shadow. As soon as the fist radiance was thrown out, it grew rapidly and soon became the size of a small mountain. Under the crushing force of the fist radiance, the surrounding seawater was immediately dispersed, emitting a series of explosive sounds. This scene gave people the feeling that the surrounding spatial enchantment could not withstand Mo Qingyun's punch. So strong. Sensing the power of Mo Qingyun's punch, Lan Kuei's pretty face was immediately shocked and she said in surprise, With the power of his punch, even a Daluo Golden Celestial expert would not be able to withstand it easily. Is he really in the Golden Celestial realm? Lan Kuei was also in the Golden Celestial realm. She suddenly realized that the gap between her and Mo Qingyun was too big. This person is too strong. He's not someone we can deal with. Retreat quickly. It turns out that Lan Quan and the others have found powerful helpers. No wonder they're so fearless. Damn it, he hit it so well. Seeing the rapidly approaching fist radiance, the expressions of Bao Feng and the others changed greatly. They hurriedly turned around and fled for their lives. However, the speed at which they fled was a little too slow compared to the speed at which the fist light chased after them. Not long after, Bao Feng and the others were caught up and swallowed by the fist light. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's punch, Bao Feng and the others immediately let out a blood-curdling scream as their bodies flew backwards. When Bao Feng and the rest were sent flying, the bodies of some of the weaker people were annihilated into dust in the blink of an eye. Golden Dragon shedding its shell. Facing Mo Qingyun's punch, Bao Feng did not dare to hold back and immediately used a secret technique. Then, Bao Feng's figure flashed and escaped from the fist radiance. He said malevolently, Brat, I'll remember this. Just wait for my revenge. As soon as Bao Feng finished speaking, he disappeared and left Emo Qingyun's line of sight. Looking at Bao Feng's disappearing figure, Emo Qingyun's expression was incomparably calm, without the slightest fluctuation in his emotions. As for Bao Feng's revenge, he did not care at all. Compared to Bao Feng's threat, Ting Xiao, who was far away in the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan, was undoubtedly a more terrifying threat to him. One punch. Dozens of golden celestial stage experts were all sent flying and their souls scattered. Looking at the power of Emo Qingyun's punch, Lan Kuai and the others widened their eyes. They were stunned by Emo Qingyun's strength. So powerful! Looking at Emo Qingyun beside her, Lan Kuei was so shocked that her delicate body trembled. She had a new understanding of Emo Qingyun's strength. Compared to Lan Kuei's shock, Lan Quan and the others were undoubtedly more shocked in their hearts. This brat, is he really in the Golden Celestial Stage? Even the Tai Xian Celestial Stage is only SOSO, right? Seeing Emo Qingyun's strength, Lan Quan and the others were so frightened that their faces twitched. They were in awe of Emo Qingyun and said, "It turns out that what this brat said just now was not nonsense. He really has the strength to protect us." Thinking of their thoughts just now, Lan Quan and the others blushed and immediately felt ashamed. Emo Qingyun wanted to protect them out of kindness, but he actually doubted Emo Qingyun's strength. He was really gauging the heart of a gentleman with his own mean measure. "Let's go." After killing Bao Feng and the others with one punch, Emo Qingyun instructed Lan Kuei and flew toward one of the mermaid's tears. Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, Lan Kuei and the others did not hesitate and immediately flew toward one of the mermaid's tears. Seeing Emo Qingyun's powerful strength, everyone was fearful of Emo Qingyun and did not dare to compete with him for the mermaid's tears. What a joke, killing dozens of golden celestial stage experts with one punch. Such a person was not someone they could provoke. Without being stopped, Emo Qingyun and the others quickly took the mermaid's tears and flew toward the mermaid ruins. Although Emo Qingyun was surprised by such a situation, he did not reject it. It was naturally a good thing to be able to easily get the mermaid's tears. It could save him a lot of trouble. As they flew toward the mermaid ruins, transparent bubbles appeared in front of Emo Qingyun and the others. In these bubbles, there were images of the mermaids, recording the glory days of the mermaid race. Looking at the images in these bubbles, Emo Qingyun was shocked and could not help but yearn for them. He could not help but think that he was a mermaid and was experiencing the glory days of the mermaid race. While Emo Qingyun was watching the video, a wondrous melody was transmitted into his mind. Hearing this wonderful rhythm, Emo Qingyun quickly regained consciousness and gradually became drowsy. It was as if a strong wave of tiredness was growing in his heart. Buzz! When Emo Qingyun's mind was drowsy, the light gate martial spirit suddenly trembled and emitted a mysterious power. Under the influence of this power, Emo Qingyun's mind was awakened and he was no longer affected by the rhythm. I did not expect this rhythm to be able to drowse one's consciousness and cause one to fall into a deep sleep. When Emo Qingyun regained consciousness, he felt a lingering fear and became more vigilant toward the mermaid ruins. Judging from the current situation, there would probably be more dangers in the merfolk ruins. When Emo Qingyun was on guard, he looked at Lan Kuei and the others and realized that they were the same as him. Emo Qingyun's expression turned solemn when he saw that Lan Kuei and the others had lost their minds. He immediately shouted at Lan Kuei and the others, "Lan Kuei, quickly restrain your minds. Don't let the music affect your minds." Lan Kuei and the others hadn't sunk too deep into their consciousness. Emo Qingyun's shout woke them up one by one. When Lan Kuei and the others regained consciousness, they were all frightened and there was a lingering fear in their hearts. Fortunately, Emo Qingyun had woken them up. Otherwise, they would not know what would have happened to them. "Thank you." After receiving Emo Qingyun's help again, Lan Quan and the others' attitude toward Emo Qingyun changed drastically. They knew very well that if Mo Qingyun hadn't woken them up this time, they might have died here. Not to mention that Mo Qingyun had woken them up. Just Bao Feng and the others from before were enough to give them a headache. Everyone, be careful. This mermaid ruins is not simple. It seems like it is not a blessed land. After seeing the strangeness of the mermaid ruins, Mo Qingyun's expression tensed up and he became alert. When they heard Mo Qingyun's warning, Lan Quan and the others did not dare to be careless, and they were all alert of their surroundings. They did not encounter any more danger on the way. It was nothing more than the image bubbles and the bewitching music. Now that Mo Qingyun and the others were somewhat on guard, the music that could confuse one's mind was completely ineffective. After about the time it took to brew a cup of tea, Mo Qingyun and the others rode on the mermaid tiers and arrived at the mermaid ruins. When they walked into the mermaid ruins, an ancient and vicissitude aura rushed toward Mo Qingyun and the others. At the same time, a terrifying bloodline pressure suddenly descended on Mo Qingyun and the others. Pucci. Under the bloodline pressure, Lan Kuei and the others spat out blood and their faces became paler. Seeing Lan Kuei and the others, Mo Qingyun frowned and hurriedly asked Lan Kuei and the others, "What's wrong?" When they heard Mo Qingyun's question, Lan Quan and the others were shocked. They looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief and said, "Didn't you feel the bloodline pressure in the mermaid ruins?" "Although there's bloodline pressure, I don't know if it affects me." Mo Qingyun did not hide it and answered Lan Quan honestly. Lan Kuei was not surprised when she heard Mo Qingyun's answer. She explained, "Brother Lan Quan, Mr. Mo is a heavenly soul demon. His bloodline level is much higher than mine. The bloodline pressure of the mermaid ruins has no effect on him." You're from the heavenly soul demon race?" When he heard Lan Kuei's words, Lan Quan was shocked again. He was very surprised by this situation. From what had just happened, he could see that Mo Qingyun was extraordinary. However, he did not expect Mo Qingyun's background to be so frightening. After knowing Mo Qingyun's background, Lan Quan was no longer surprised as to why Mo Qingyun was not affected. With Mo Qingyun's heavenly soul demon race bloodline, it was not inferior to the mermaid bloodline. It was normal that he did not fear the bloodline pressure of the mermaid ruins. "How are you? Can you still go deeper?" Glancing at Lan Quan and the others, Mo Qingyun asked about their situation. "Don't worry." Lan Quan and the others shook their heads, indicating that Mo Qingyun did not need to worry. "This place is very strange. Follow me closely later." When he heard Lan Quan and the others' response, Mo Qingyun's expression became clear. He said to them seriously. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew forward and began to search for treasures in the ruins. The ruins were very large. However, most of the places had become ruins. From the ruins of the palaces, one could see how powerful and glorious the mermaid ruins had been. "Mr. Mo, look at those people. They seem to be summoned by something." When Mo Qingyun and the others were flying, Lan Kuei was shocked. She raised her hand and pointed at a group of people who were in a daze. Seeing these people's reactions, Mo Qingyun frowned. He said to Lan Kuei and the others, "Let's go and take a look." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew towards those people. He wanted to see what was causing trouble. Chapter 1687. Crack, crack, crack. As Mo Qingyun and the others approached, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from the palace. Hearing the sound of bones cracking, Mo Qingyun and the others tensed up and their hearts were in their throat. At the same time, they were extremely curious about the situation in the palace. Gradually, Mo Qingyun and the others saw the scene in the palace. They saw a mermaid that was more than 10 meters long and had a human body and a fish tail. She was eating the people around her. Eating people. The hearts of Mo Qingyun and the others trembled when they saw this scene. They felt a chill run down their spines. Although Qi Lian refined other people's blood essence to raise his cultivation level, However, eating people directly like this was still a little too scary. Mermaid! Mermaid! Seeing this scene, Lan Kuei was so frightened that her delicate body trembled and her face turned as pale as paper. Because of Lan Kuei's voice, it immediately attracted the attention of the mermaid in the palace and made her look over. Then, the mermaid moved and swam towards Emo Qingyun and the others. "Oh no, she found us!" Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately shook, and he felt a strong sense of unease. The mermaid was very powerful and had reached the Tai Xian immortal realm. Facing such an existence, Emo Qingyun had a headache. He was not confident that he could kill or defeat her. More importantly, Lan Kuei and the others were here, so he could not focus on dealing with the mermaid. Then, Emo Qingyun's expression turned serious and said to Lan Quan and the others, "I'll lure the mermaid away. You guys leave the mermaid ruins immediately." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he flew towards the mermaid and was prepared to delay the mermaid. "Thank you." Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Lan Quan and the others were touched. They gritted their teeth and flew into the distance. Seeing that Lan Quan and the others were about to escape, the mermaid swung her tail and immediately chased after them. As for Emo Qingyun, who took the initiative to chase after her, she had forgotten about him. This surprised Emo Qingyun. "Oh no, my intentions have been seen through." Seeing the mermaid's abnormal behavior, Emo Qingyun was shocked and immediately attacked the mermaid. Soul Light! Emo Qingyun's left eye flashed, and a wave of soul power blasted out, turning into a sharp fine line. The Soul Light attack was extremely fast, disappearing in a flash. In the blink of an eye, it blasted into the mermaid's sea of consciousness. Roar! After being hit by Emo Qingyun's attack, the merman immediately roared angrily, and his swimming body paused. Then, the mermaid's eyes widened in anger. She turned her head and looked at Emo Qingyun. She said furiously, "Damned bug, you dare to attack me? I'll kill you first." The mermaid swung her tail and turned into a stream of light, chasing after Emo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. Vanishing Shadow. Rushing Thunder Wind Dao. Illusory Void Star Position. Seeing that the mermaid was attacking him, Emo Qingyun did not dare to be careless. He immediately increased his speed to the maximum. Then, Emo Qingyun also turned into a stream of light and flew towards the depths of the mermaid's ruins. However, although Emo Qingyun's flying speed was fast, there was still a gap between him and the mermaid. As time passed, the distance between Emo Qingyun and the mermaid was shortened bit by bit. "No, if this goes on, she will catch up to me soon." Seeing that the mermaid was getting closer and closer, Emo Qingyun's mind spun quickly. He thought to himself, "This mermaid has just entered the Grand Unity Mystic Immortal Realm. I am not completely powerless in front of her." After thinking about this, Emo Qingyun's fear of the mermaid immediately decreased. Earlier, with Lan Kuei and the others around, he could not display his full strength. Now, he did not have to worry about this. Then, a strong fighting spirit was emitted from Emo Qingyun's body. Since Emo Qingyun had decided to fight the mermaid, he stopped running and stopped to confront the mermaid. "Kid, why don't you continue to run?" Seeing that Emo Qingyun was no longer running for his life, the mermaid smiled sinisterly and said, "You used your own life in exchange for the lives of others. You are a person who values friendship. Since that is the case, I will give you a chance. From now on, be the servant of the sky-swallowing mermaid king." "Run? Why should I run?" Hearing the mermaid's words, Emo Qingyun's lips curled up slightly. With an indifferent expression, he said, "As for becoming your servant, I am even less interested. Kid, you are courting death." Seeing that Emo Qingyun had rejected his offer, the King Devourer immediately shouted angrily and a murderous aura was emitted from his body. Swallowing Ice Dragon. The King Devourer pointed his finger and manipulated the surrounding seawater to form a huge ice dragon. When the ice dragon was formed, it carried a wave of seawater and swallowed Emo Qingyun. When the ice dragon attacked, the surrounding seawater constantly froze and emitted a terrifying chill. So powerful! Facing the King Devourer's attack, Emo Qingyun's expression was shocked. He was fearful of the King Devourer's strength. This kind of strength was not what he had imagined at all. Aoli had also just entered the Tai mystic immortal realm. The difference in strength between him and the King Devourer was too great. This King Devourer is too powerful. He is not someone I can fight against. With a clear understanding of the gap between himself and the King Devourer, Emo Qingyun knew that he had overestimated himself. Knowing that he was no match for him, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately decided to continue running for his life. Teleportation Gate. A whirlpool-like light gate instantly appeared beside Emo Qingyun and sucked Emo Qingyun into it. Then, the light gate disappeared along with Emo Qingyun. He ran away? Seeing that Emo Qingyun's figure had disappeared, the King Devourer's expression was shocked. He was very surprised by this situation. After a short moment of shock, the King Devourer's expression became joyful. He laughed sinisterly and said, "That aura just now seemed to be the aura of the Gate of Destinies. I didn't expect to encounter such a reward when I just woke up. Kid, you can't escape." The King Devourer's tail flapped and his figure appeared thousands of miles away. He continued to chase after Emo Qingyun. When the King Devourer was chasing after Emo Qingyun was thousands of miles away. With a lingering expression, he said, "This King Devourer's background must be very extraordinary. Otherwise, with her cultivation in the Tai mystic immortal realm, she could not be so powerful." Just now, when Emo Qingyun faced the King Devourer, he was even more depressed than when he faced Qian Linglong. After all, Qian Linglong's cultivation had reached the Sage-to-Be realm. If this was the case, this King Devourer was too frightening. Could it be that the King Devourer is an old monster from before the 10,000 ancient tribes? When this thought appeared in Emo Qingyun's mind, he was immediately frightened and found it hard to accept. If that was the case, the King Devourer's background was too frightening. No, this King Devourer is too dangerous. I have to leave the Merman ruins immediately. Recalling the horror of the King Devourer, Emo Qingyun did not dare to stay any longer. He decided to leave the Merman ruins immediately. As for the treasures in the Merman ruins, Emo Qingyun had no interest in them at all. Emo Qingyun knew very well that with the King Devourer here, he would not be allowed to search for treasures in peace. Immediately, Emo Qingyun did not stay any longer and immediately rushed out of the Merman ruins. The hidden door. To prevent himself from being discovered, Emo Qingyun used the hidden door to hide his figure and aura. Emo Qingyun rushed all the way and did not dare to stay any longer. He flew directly to the exit of the Merman ruins. When Emo Qingyun arrived at the exit of the Merman ruins, his whereabouts were discovered by the King Devourer. The aura of the Gate of Creation. It seems that this kid is using the power of the Gate of Creation to avoid my pursuit. Unfortunately, he miscalculated. Kid, the Gate of Creation is not for you to use like that. You should obediently hand it over to me. The King Devourer smirked. He swung his fishtail and continued to chase after Emo Qingyun. Outside the Merman ruins. Phew, I finally left. Coming out of the Merman ruins, Emo Qingyun's expression relaxed. He felt that he had escaped from the King Devourer. Thump thump thump, however, before Emo Qingyun could calm down, a terrifying sense of danger grew in his heart. This feeling, a strong sense of danger grew in his heart. Emo Qingyun immediately guessed that the King Devourer had caught up. Immediately, Emo Qingyun did not dare to hesitate. His body turned into an afterimage and left. Not long after Emo Qingyun left, the King Devourer arrived outside the Merman ruins. He revealed a sinister smile and said, "This kid is cunning. He actually came out of the Merman ruins. Although it will be troublesome to track him down, it has become more interesting." Merman! Merman! Run! Run, the merman is resurrected! When the people in the merman ruins saw the king devourer in front of them, they were all horrified. Immediately, these people did not dare to stay and immediately flew into the distance. Seeing that these people wanted to escape, the king devourer sneered and directly opened his mouth towards these people. A terrifying whirlpool appeared in front of the king devourer, emitting a terrifying suction force. Under this suction force, these people who were preparing to escape were all sucked in. Roar! After capturing these people who were escaping, the king devourer opened his mouth and swallowed them all, chewing. If Emo-Chinyon was here and saw the king devourer's action, he would be even more terrified. After eating some snacks, it's time to continue chasing that kid. The king devourer licked his lips and revealed a faint smile. His figure flashed and swam forward. After coming out of the merman ruins, Emo-Chinyon's figure did not stop and continued to escape in the direction of the Devil Wasteland domain. There were countless experts in the Devil Wasteland domain. As long as he escaped into the Devil Wasteland domain, he would be able to intimidate the king devourer. As for returning to the Divine Wasteland domain and even asking for Qian Linglong's help, Emo-Chinyon was unwilling. Now that there was the hidden danger of the dark demon race in the 1000 illusions, it was already a headache for Qian Linglong. If she brought another king devourer, she would be distracted to deal with him. She was afraid that the dark demon race would have an opportunity to take advantage of. As Emo-Chinyon continued to escape, the sense of danger from before gradually weakened. Chapter 1688. The turtle spirit foresight can foresee the future. I wonder if it can foresee the king devourer's whereabouts. After getting rid of the king devourer's pursuit, Emo-Chinyon had an idea. He immediately used the turtle spirit foresight. A strong immortal spiritual power gathered outside Emo-Chinyon's body, forming a huge tortoise shell. Not long after the tortoise shell formed, a hazy image appeared in front of Emo-Chinyon. After watching the entire process of the image, Emo-Chinyon's expression turned grave. He felt a lingering fear. He didn't expect the king devourer to be able to chase him all the way through the light gate martial spirit's aura. Fortunately, he knew the turtle spirit foresight and had foreseen some things in the future. He had discovered the king devourer's method. Otherwise, if he had been using the light gate martial spirit to escape, it would have been terrifying. The king devourer can sense the light gate martial spirit's aura and discover my escape route. I can't use the light gate martial spirit anymore. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Emo-Chinyon decided that he wouldn't use the light gate martial spirit's power unless it was absolutely necessary. After making up his mind, Emo-Chinyon didn't stay any longer. He immediately fled into the distance. Emo-Chinyon's figure flashed a few times. He was thousands of miles away, entering a group of blood-red seamounts. Among these blood-red seamounts, there were some undersea god tribes with huge pincers patrolling the area. This is the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe? Seeing these undersea god tribes, Emo-Chinyon was shocked. He didn't expect to accidentally enter Bao Feng's tribe. Just as Emo-Chinyon was feeling surprised, an Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe member shouted at him coldly, "Who are you? Sneaking into the territory of our Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, are you up to no good?" After this, Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp questioned Emo-Chinyon. He led his people to surround Emo-Chinyon. Seeing that his escape route was blocked, Emo-Chinyon's expression turned grave. He was on guard against any sudden attacks. Don't you guys realize that this kid looks a little familiar? It's him. That person who injured young Master Baofeng. I didn't expect him to come knocking on my door. Capture him immediately. Don't let him escape. The Iron Dragon Blood Prawns chatted for a while before they recognized Emo-Chinyon. They immediately attacked Emo-Chinyon. Oh no, we've been recognized. Seeing the actions of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Emo-Chinyon was startled, and a strong uneasiness arose in his heart. One king devourer was enough to give him a headache. If the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp clansmen were to deal with them, it would be even more troublesome. Devil Fist, Shattering Star River. Facing the encirclement of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Mo Qingyun did not dare hesitate and immediately punched out. A surge of violent, immortal spiritual energy gathered on Mo Qingyun's fist, emitting a terrifying demonic aura. Black fist radiance formed, and like a meteor, it blasted towards the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. These Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribesmen's cultivation was not particularly strong. They were only at the golden immortal stage. With their cultivation, they naturally could not withstand Mo Qingyun's punch. Bang bang bang, facing Mo Qingyun's punch, the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribesmen were instantly sent flying. After sending the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribesmen flying, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop, and he immediately fled to the side. In the moment when he had attacked, Mo Qingyun had sensed several Tai-Xian immortal stage auras from the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Facing so many Tai-Xian immortal stage experts, Mo Qingyun did not dare to be careless and stay in the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe for too long. If he was besieged by the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe's experts and was pursued by the King Devourer, he would really be done for. When Mo Qingyun was fleeing, some of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe's experts were immediately alerted. "What's going on?" A man with huge black pincers questioned the people around him with a gloomy face. His body was emitting a strong aura. Judging from this man's aura, his cultivation should not be too different from Ao Li's. He was an expert who had just entered the Tai-Xian immortal stage. Lord Bao Yong, the person who severely injured young Master Bao Feng, has just come to our tribe and seriously injured us. Hearing Bao Yong's question, everyone revealed a fearful expression and quickly reported the situation to Bao Yong. "What? That lad still dares to provoke us?" Bao Yong's face turned ugly when he heard the man's report. He said angrily, "This is too much. If we don't teach him a lesson, he will really think that our Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe is easy to bully." Immediately pass down the order to seal off the area of the Iron Cage Blood Sea. After learning about Mo Qingyun's arrogant behavior, Bao Yong's face darkened. He issued a wanted order and said, "Lad, I will set up an inescapable net to hunt you down. I want to see how you can escape." Soon, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe began to encircle the surrounding sea area. Mo Qingyun was naturally unaware of the movements of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. What he was thinking now was to leave the rolling Thunder Demon Sea as soon as possible and reach the Devil Wasteland domain. However, the terrain at the bottom of the sea was not like on land. There were some distinguishable places. At the bottom of the sea, it was basically the same everywhere. If it was not a sea valley, then it was a sea mountain. Gradually, Mo Qingyun realized that he had lost his way and did not know where he was. "This can't go on. I have to get a map of the rolling Thunder Demon Sea. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me to leave the rolling Thunder Demon Sea." Realizing that he had lost his way, Mo Qingyun sighed inwardly and could not help but feel a headache. Although he had lost his way, Mo Qingyun did not stop. Instead, he continued to fly forward. Mo Qingyun's idea was very simple. He wanted to walk this path until he reached a dead end. He would definitely encounter one or two living people. At that time, he would be able to ask them about the terrain of the rolling Thunder Demon Sea. He did not know whether Mo Qingyun's luck was good or bad. Not long after, he encountered a group of living people who were searching carefully. That's right, these people were from the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. They were searching carefully for Mo Qingyun. "That brat is over there. Let's capture them immediately." When they saw Mo Qingyun in front, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe immediately charged at Mo Qingyun. Not only that, But these Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp people did not forget to call for help as they surrounded Mo Qingyun. When they heard these people's calls, the people searching for Mo Qingyun in the surroundings immediately converged. I can't get tangled up with them. I have to end this quickly. Mo Qingyun knew very well that if he got tangled up with them, he would end up with a huge headache. Mo Qingyun put on a solemn expression as he watched the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe attack him. Then, he immediately charged at them. Mo Qingyun had not thought about letting Aoli make a move yet. Now that he could not use his Lightgate Martial Soul, Aoli was his trump card. He could not reveal it easily. If the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe knew that he had a Grand Unity Mysterious Immortal by his side, the situation would be different. Thus, unless he encountered an extremely dangerous situation, he definitely could not reveal Aoli's existence. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of a group of weaker people. He threw a punch at them without hesitation. A black fist radiance that was comparable to a small mountain dispersed the seawater in front of him and blasted towards the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Bang! 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 After being blasted by Mo Qingyun's punch, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe were instantly sent flying. After sending the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe flying, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop. He immediately passed by them. Then, Mo Qingyun sped away, shaking off the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Before long, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe chasing after Mo Qingyun were finally shaken off completely. Although he had shaken off the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Mo Qingyun was completely lost. Now, he had no direction at all. He really did not know how to proceed. Helpless, Mo Qingyun could only move forward slowly and pray that he would encounter an undersea god tribe member. About 2 hours later, rows of resplendent crystalline palaces appeared before Mo Qingyun's eyes. When he saw these resplendent palaces, Mo Qingyun was ecstatic. He had finally encountered an undersea god tribe member. However, after his previous experience, Mo Qingyun was much more careful this time and did not approach those palaces rashly. When Mo Qingyun approached the palaces, he was surprised to see a familiar figure appear before him. It's her! Seeing the beautiful figure in front of him, Mo Qingyun's expression lit up, and he was pleasantly surprised. This beautiful figure was the young lady in blue from before, Lan Kuei. When Mo Qingyun discovered Lan Kuei also saw Mo Qingyun. She smiled brightly and said, "Mr. Mo, it's great that you're all right." After saying this, Lan Kuei immediately swam towards Mo Qingyun and arrived in front of Mo Qingyun. "Sorry for making you worry, Miss Lan Kuei." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and replied to Lan Kuei. Now that he saw Lan Kuei, Mo Qingyun's worries were completely gone. He believed that with Lan Kuei's help, he would definitely be able to obtain the map of the Rolling Thunder Devil Sea. "Mr. Mo, please don't say that." Lan Kuei looked ashamed and looked at Mo Qingyun gratefully. She said, "If you had not lured the mermen away, my people and I would not have been able to escape. Speaking of which, we should thank you. Mr. Mo, let's not stand here. Come with me to sit in the clan." After exchanging some pleasantries with Mo Qingyun, Lan Kuei pulled Mo Qingyun and swam towards those palaces. After a while, under Lan Kuei's lead, Mo Qingyun walked into one of the palaces. In this palace, there were many Daluo Golden Celestials and Tai Xian Celestials. When everyone saw Mo Qingyun appear, they were all surprised and looked curiously at Mo Qingyun. After briefly glancing at Mo Qingyun, a middle-aged man wearing a blood-red crown asked Lan Kuei, "Who is this young master? Quickly introduce him to me." "Father, he is Mr. Mo, the one who saved me and my people in the Merman's Relic." Hearing her father's question, Lan Kuei was excited and introduced Mo Qingyun to everyone. Chapter 1689. My young friend, thank you for risking your life to save my daughter and the juniors of my clan. Lan Tianxiang, the patriarch of the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, stood up and bowed to Emo Qingyun to express his gratitude to Emo Qingyun. Patriarch Lan, there's no need to be so polite. Seeing Lan Tianxiang's action, Emo Qingyun hurriedly waved his hand and said, I know Lan Kuei and the others. Naturally, I can't just watch them be slaughtered by the King Devourer. There was no falsehood in Emo Qingyun's words. He was merely expressing his true thoughts. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang and the others nodded. Their impression of Emo Qingyun improved greatly. They had only met by chance, yet Emo Qingyun was able to do this. This was really too rare. Kuei, quickly bring little friend Emo to his seat. After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang gave Lan Kuei a look, indicating for her to bring Emo Qingyun to sit down. Mr. Emo, please sit here. Seeing Lan Tianxiang's signal, Lan Kuei immediately pulled Emo Qingyun to a chair at the side and sat down. Little friend Emo, I heard from Kuei that you're going to the Devil Wasteland domain? After Emo Qingyun sat down, Lan Tianxiang showed a curious expression and could not help but ask Emo Qingyun. That's right. Hearing Lan Tianxiang's question, Emo Qingyun nodded and did not deny it. Emo Qingyun knew that Lan Kuei should have told him that he was from the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Seeing Emo Qingyun nod his head, Lan Tianxiang's expression became more serious. He said in a deep voice, The journey to the Devil Wasteland domain is long. Who knows how many dangers there will be on the way? It's too dangerous for you to go alone. Some things can't be avoided. Even if there's a slim chance of survival, I have to go to the Devil Wasteland domain. Emo Qingyun was unmoved by the threat in Lan Tianxiang's words. He responded with a firm expression. Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Lan Tianxiang nodded approvingly. He admired Emo Qingyun's courage. After expressing his decision to Lan Tianxiang, Emo Qingyun revealed an awkward expression and said to Lan Tianxiang, Patriarch Lan, I have a presumptuous request. I hope Patriarch Lan can fulfill my request. Oh, what is it? Let's hear it. Lan Tianxiang was curious and gave Emo Qingyun an encouraging look, hinting for Emo Qingyun to say it directly. Emo Qingyun said, Patriarch Lan, this rolling thunder devil sea is too vast. I'm not familiar with the terrain here. Can you give me a map of the rolling thunder devil sea? Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang immediately frowned and revealed a difficult expression. Little friend Emo, it's not that I don't want to agree to your request, but that I don't have the map of the rolling lightning devil sea. You don't have it either? Emo Qingyun's expression was shocked. He was very surprised by this situation. AI. You've just come to the rolling thunder devil sea, so you don't know the situation. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, Lan Tianxiang sighed and replied, In the rolling thunder devil sea, only the 3 halls and 1 palace have a complete map of the rolling thunder devil sea. Other forces don't have it. 3 halls and 1 palace? Emo Qingyun's face was filled with curiosity. He was more interested in these 4 forces. He asked, Which 3 palaces and 1 palace are they? The 3 halls and 1 palace are the Demon Temple Hall, the Heavenly Chapter Hall, the Lightning Ray Hall, and the 9 Dragon Palace. Lan Tianxiang introduced the 3 halls and 1 palace. He didn't stop talking and continued to explain to Emo Qingyun, the ancestral land of our purple-eyed blood dragon tribe is in the area under the command of the 9 Dragon Palace. It's considered a subordinate force of the 9 Dragon Palace. So it's like this. Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, Emo Qingyun immediately had a clear understanding of the strength of the rolling thunder devil sea. While Emo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding, Lan Tianxiang didn't stop talking and continued to explain the situation of the rolling thunder devil sea. The 9 Dragon Palace's area of influence is in the west of the rolling thunder devil sea, and the Devil Wasteland domain is in the east. Therefore, if you want to go to the Devil Wasteland domain, you must pass through the area under the command of the 3 halls. From the looks of it, passing through the rolling thunder Devil Sea is more troublesome than I thought. After listening to Lan Tianxiang's explanation, Mo Qingyun suddenly felt a headache. He didn't think that there would be so many things. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was silent, Lan Tianxiang hesitated for a moment and said, "The relationship between the 9 Dragon Palace and the 3 halls has reached a point where they can't tolerate each other. Anyone from the 9 Dragon Palaces area will be hunted down by them. If you want to pass through the area under the influence of the 3 halls, I'm afraid it won't be an easy task." Mo Qingyun's brows were tightly knitted. He was silent and quickly pondering in his heart. If Lan Tianxiang's words were true, then all of this was really troublesome. However, although it was somewhat troublesome, he couldn't back down because of it. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before looking at Lan Tianxiang with a determined expression. He said, "Clan leader Lan, please give me a map of the 9 Dragon Palaces area of influence. I'll set off for the 9 Dragon Palace right away." "Little friend Mo, it's not difficult to give you a map of the 9 Dragon Palace, but are you really not going to consider it?" Lan Tianxiang didn't refuse Mo Qingyun's request. He couldn't help but persuade Mo Qingyun, "With your current cultivation, it's too dangerous for you to go to the Devil Wasteland domain. Why don't you stay in my purple-eyed blood dragon clan first and leave after your cultivation has increased a little?" "Thank you for your kind intentions, clan leader Lan, but I've already made up my mind." Mo Qingyun tactfully rejected Lan Tianxiang's persuasion. He said, "Moreover, I haven't gotten rid of the King Devourer yet, so I can't stay in one place for too long. If I stay in the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, I'll only bring trouble to them." "Little friend Mo, don't worry. Although the purple-eyed blood dragon clan isn't strong, we're not afraid of a Tai Xian, immortal realm mermaid." Lan Tianxiang had a proud expression on his face and exuded a sense of curiosity. He assured Mo Qingyun and said, "This mermaid wants to kill my daughter and my clansmen. I'm just worried that I won't be able to find her. If she comes to the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, I'll make sure she doesn't return." "Clan leader Lan, there's something you don't know." Seeing Lan Tianxiang's reaction, Mo Qingyun shook his head and said, "That King Devourer is most likely a Saint Realm expert when he's at his peak. If he bears a grudge against the purple-eyed blood dragon clan, it'll be a disaster for the purple-eyed blood dragon clan." "A Saint Realm expert." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang's expression trembled and an apologetic look appeared on his face. He said, "If that's the case, I can only say sorry. I'm unable to protect little friend Mo. This is the map of the 9 Dragon Palaces territory," Lan Tianxiang said apologetically. He took out a beast skin scroll and tossed it to Mo Qingyun. "Many thanks." Receiving the map from Lan Tianxiang, Mo Qingyun glanced at it briefly. He cupped his hands and thanked Lan Tianxiang. He said, "If that's the case, I won't stay any longer. Farewell, everyone." With the map of the 9 Dragon Palace in his hands, Mo Qingyun bid farewell to everyone and prepared to head to the 9 Dragon Palace. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, the sooner he headed to the 9 Dragon Palace, the sooner he could get rid of the King Devourer. "You're leaving now?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's actions, Lan Tianxiang was shocked. He didn't expect Mo Qingyun to be in such a hurry. Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He said in a deep voice, "The King Devourer left a tracking mark on my body. In order to prevent any unforeseen events from happening, it's better for me to leave as soon as possible." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lan Tianxiang and the others were shocked. They didn't try to persuade Mo Qingyun to stay any longer. At this moment, Lan Tianxiang's gratitude towards Mo Qingyun became even more intense. From this, it could be seen that Mo Qingyun had paid a huge price for Lan Kuei and the others. Being chased by a Grand Unity Xian, immortal expert with a mere golden immortal cultivation, wasn't a good feeling at all. Seeing that Emo Qingyun was about to leave, Lan Tianxiang gave Lan Kuei a look and said, "Queer, go send Mr. Emo off." "Yes." Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, Lan Kuei's figure moved and she left the main hall with Emo Qingyun. Seeing Emo Qingyun walking out of the main hall, Lan Tianxiang's expression was full of regret. He said, "What a pity! With Emo Qingyun's talent, if he could have kept our purple-eyed blood dragon tribe alive, we might have been able to escape the control of the Nine Dragon Palace one day. Yes, with Emo Qingyun's talent, it would be a pity if he was killed by the mermen. I hope nothing happens to him. After all, he saved many juniors in the tribe. This path won't be easy for him. It seems like he's indeed different from others." "That's right. If he makes it through, he will transform into a dragon. If he can't, sigh." Hearing Lan Tianxiang's words, everyone sighed. They were worried and anxious about Emo Qingyun. After a while, Emo Qingyun, accompanied by Lan Kuei, left the territory of the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. "Miss Lan Kuei, we have to part in the end. Let's part here." Seeing Lan Kuei sending them off, Emo Qingyun stopped her and indicated that she could go back. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lan Kuei's expression turned solemn. She nodded and said, "Be careful. If the journey to the Nine Dragon Palace isn't smooth, then come back to the purple-eyed blood dragon tribe. We'll fight the mermen together." "Okay." Emo Qingyun nodded in agreement. He didn't make any promises. Emo Qingyun and Lan Kuei chatted for a while more before Emo Qingyun set off for the Nine Dragon Palace. "I didn't expect that the route to the Nine Dragon Palace would require me to pass through the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe." Looking at the map of the Nine Flood Dragon Palace's territory, Emo Qingyun revealed a surprised expression. A faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth as he said, "Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, since you dare to chase after me, then I will play with you." Emo Qingyun muttered to himself. He didn't waste any more time and immediately rushed towards the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. With a map to guide him, Emo Qingyun's journey became much smoother. After a few hours, Emo Qingyun returned to the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe with a playful smile on his face. Teleportation Gate. Hidden Gate. Standing outside the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Emo Qingyun opened the teleportation gate and activated the power of the Light Gate martial spirit. Then, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Emo Qingyun's idea was simple. He wanted to lure the King Devourer over and let her fight with the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Time passed by slowly. "She's here." After an unknown period of time, a sense of danger appeared again. Emo Qingyun knew that the King Devourer was here. Chapter 1690. After leaving the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Emo Qingyun didn't go too far. Instead, he stayed where he was and observed. Under Emo Qingyun's observation, he realized that there were terrifying shockwaves from the battle in the territory of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. If he wasn't wrong, the King Devourer must have come to the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe and was engaged in a frenzied battle. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun was completely relieved. The corners of his mouth curled up into a bright smile. His goal could be considered to have been perfectly achieved. "People of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, I hope you will like this gift." Emo Qingyun smiled faintly. His figure flashed as he continued to rush towards the Nine Flood Dragon Palace. Along the way, Emo Qingyun didn't rush. Instead, he cultivated non-stop. As long as he came across a lightning pool that was strong enough, he would enter it to cultivate. He would only leave when the effects of his cultivation were minimal. In the blink of an eye, several months had passed. In the middle of a lightning pool with a diameter of 100 miles, a youth with a solemn expression sat cross-legged. This youth was naturally Emo Qingyun, who was rushing on his way. At this moment, Lightning as thick as an arm continuously bombarded Mo Qingyun's body. Every time he was struck by lightning, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded would become stronger. After an unknown amount of time, the aura that Mo Qingyun exuded finally reached its limit. His cultivation was about to break through. If one were to observe carefully, they would see that there were streaks of golden light flashing on Mo Qingyun's body. Miniature gold body formed for me. Mo Qingyun's eyes, which had been tightly shut, suddenly opened at this moment. He controlled the power of incense to condense the miniature gold body. Soon, a terrifying power of incense rapidly gathered outside of Mo Qingyun's body. When the power of incense appeared, it quickly seeped into Mo Qingyun's body, transforming Mo Qingyun's body. While Mo Qingyun's body was being transformed, the golden light emitted from his body also became more and more dazzling. Under the cover of the golden light, Mo Qingyun gave off a solemn and dignified feeling. Boom! A terrifying aura suddenly erupted from Mo Qingyun's body, reaching a whole new level. At the same time, a dignified golden figure condensed outside Mo Qingyun's body. Success! Now that his cultivation base had broken through to the golden immortal stage, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with joy and excitement. After this period of cultivation, his cultivation had finally made a breakthrough and reached the golden immortal realm's little gold body. With the breakthrough to the little gold body level, Mo Qingyun clearly felt that his physique had become many times stronger. With my current physical strength, I can easily kill a Firefly stage powerhouse with pure physical strength. Mo Qingyun stretched his body. He had a general understanding of his current strength. With just physical strength, he could kill a Firefly stage powerhouse. Even a Tai Xian immortal stage powerhouse could not do that. From this, it could be seen how terrifying Mo Qingyun's physical body had become after his breakthrough. More importantly, after his body had been strengthened, the greatest improvement was not in his attack power, but in his defense. If Mo Qingyun could withstand a punch from a golden immortal before, he could now withstand a punch from a Daluo golden immortal. This was an earth-shaking change. After raising his cultivation base to the little gold body level, Mo Qingyun cultivated for a while before leaving the Thunder Pool. After coming out of the Thunder Pool, Mo Qingyun did not waste any more time and continued to rush to the Nine Flood Dragon Palace. Not long after Mo Qingyun's journey, he met some underwater deity tribe. They were all in a hurry. These people were not weak. Most of them were Daluo golden immortals, and some were even Tai Xian immortals. Seeing these people appear, Mo Qingyun had a curious expression on his face as he approached these people. The Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe is really unlucky to be targeted by a merman. That merman is really strong. I'm afraid he is at the second step of the Tai Xian immortal stage. I think it's not just that. He might be at the third step of the Tai Xian immortal stage. The palace masters of the Nine Flood Dragon Palace seem to be at the third step of the Tai Xian immortal stage. No wonder the 9 palace masters gathered us immediately after hearing about the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Mo Qingyun heard the voices of the people around him. The Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe was almost exterminated? After hearing these people's words, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was very surprised by this result. Immediately, Mo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He could not help but sigh. It seems that I still underestimated the King Devourer's strength. This guy is far more terrifying than I thought. Although the King Devourer is troublesome, it's a good thing that he got rid of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Thinking about the fate of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, Mo Qingyun revealed a bright smile. He was very satisfied with this result. At this time, the few people's conversation entered Mo Qingyun's ears again. The impact of the merman is too great. It has already attracted the attention of the 9 palace masters. Needless to say, we are now at war with the 3 palaces. Suddenly, a powerful merman appeared. Of course, it's a headache. I wonder what the 9 great palace masters want to instruct us for by summoning us. What else can they have for us? They just want us to send people to continue fighting with the 3 palaces. The more he listened to the conversation, the more solemn Mo Qingyun's expression became. It seems that the 9 Flood Dragon Palace is in a bad situation. Mo Qingyun frowned. He had a clear understanding of the 9 Flood Dragon Palace's current situation. If the King Devourer destroys the 9 Flood Dragon Palace and rules over the entire 9 Flood Dragon Palace, my situation will be even worse. The more Mo Qingyun thought about it, the more he felt a headache. Things were getting more and more troublesome. Because with the King Devourer's intelligence, he would definitely find some helpers in order to find Mo Qingyun as soon as possible. Otherwise, with his strength alone, it would be too difficult to find Mo Qingyun in the vast rolling Thunder Devil Sea. After following these people for a while, Mo Qingyun increased his speed and overtook Mo Qingyun's group. Before the King Devourer makes his move, I must first reach the 9 Flood Dragon Palace and obtain the map of the entire rolling Thunder Devil Sea. On the way to the 9 Flood Dragon Palace, Missouri Qingyun silently thought to himself. He even gave up on using the lightning pool to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, another 3 months passed. After 3 months of hurrying, Mo Qingyun finally arrived in the vicinity of the 9 Flood Dragon Palace. As long as I cross the Divine Dragon Peak in front, I will truly reach the 9 Flood Dragon Palace. After opening the map that Lan Tianxiang had given him, Mo Qingyun identified his location and a radiant smile appeared on his face. He still hadn't figured out how to obtain the map of the rolling Thunder Devil Sea from the 9 Flood Dragon Palace. However, being able to reach the 9 Flood Dragon Palace was also a pretty good progress. Mo Qingyun paused for a moment before continuing forward, intending to reach the 9 Flood Dragon Palace as soon as possible. At this moment, Mo Qingyun was preparing to move forward. He saw a familiar figure on a mountain peak not far away. It's him. Upon seeing that familiar figure, Mo Qingyun revealed a playful smile and slowly rushed over. He really hadn't expected to meet Bao Feng, who had escaped back then, so close to the 9 Flood Dragon Palace. Now, Bao Feng only had a few perfected golden immortals by his side. It would be very easy for Mo Qingyun to deal with him. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Bao Feng and smiled faintly at him. Long time no see. I didn't expect to meet you here. It's you. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Bao Feng's expression froze. He immediately recognized Mo Qingyun and said angrily, "Brat, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find you. I didn't expect you to not scram when you saw us. Instead, you actually dared to provoke us. I think you're really tired of living." "Looking for me?" Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head. He looked at Bao Feng with a mocking smile and said, "What you should be thinking about now is how to protect your little life. Don't wander around like a stray dog." "Brat, shut up." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Bao Feng was so angry that his body trembled. His face was even uglier than the bottom of a pot. The annihilation of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe was the most unacceptable thing. Mo Qingyun's words were simply rubbing salt on his wound. "Oh, I almost forgot. You don't have the chance to think about it anymore." Mo Qingyun ignored Bao Feng's roar and continued speaking unhurriedly. His body emitted a murderous aura. Sensing Mo Qingyun's murderous aura, Bao Feng's expression suddenly changed. He said with a surprised expression, "Looking at your posture, it seems like you still want to make a move on me." "Why, can't I?" Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He was a little surprised by Bao Feng's reaction. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Bao Feng showed a disdainful expression. He said with a self-righteous attitude, "Brat, although your cultivation base has recently broken through, I'm afraid you're still not our match with just your little gold clone. You should know that the gap between the Golden Immortal stage and the Daluo Golden Immortal stage is huge. That's for you guys. It's all the same to me. Upon hearing Bao Feng's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and charged towards Bao Feng. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun charging towards him, Bao Feng's face immediately turned ugly. He ordered the people beside him, "All of you, attack immediately. If anyone kills this brat, I'll see my uncle later and ask him to promote him." "Yes, young Master Bao Feng." Upon hearing Bao Feng's words, everyone immediately moved and charged towards Mo Qingyun. Good timing. Looking at the people charging towards him, Mo Qingyun's face revealed an excited expression. A burst of battle intent erupted from his body. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and charged towards a person in the Firefly stage. He threw out a punch in a violent manner. When Mo Qingyun threw out this punch, he did not use his immortal spiritual power. It was just a simple punch. He wanted to see just how strong his physical body was. "Brat, don't look down on others." Seeing that Mo Qingyun did not even use his immortal spiritual power, this person immediately shouted angrily, as if he had been humiliated. Chapter 1691. Bang! When the two fists collided, there was a loud explosion that created a terrifying storm. However, when the storm erupted, the perfected golden immortal of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe was turned into a pile of ashes. With just the strength of his physical body, he was able to blow up a perfected golden immortal with one punch. This kind of strength was a little scary. Illusion, this must be an illusion. Seeing this scene, Bao Feng was so scared that his face twitched. He said with a frightened expression, "He's only at the minor golden body realm. How can his physical body be so strong? What's going on?" Mo Qingyun did not pay attention to Bao Feng's crazy behavior. His figure moved, and he charged toward another person. Mo Qingyun arrived in front of this person. He still did not circulate his immortal spiritual energy, and he only threw out a punch with the strength of his physical body. Bang! Under Mo Qingyun's punch, this person, who was only at the robust soul stage, was also blown to pieces. Seeing this, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe all showed a frightened expression. It was too terrifying. Was this really the cultivation of a golden immortal? Even a Tai Xian immortal expert would not be able to do this without using his spiritual energy. This person is too monstrous. Let's attack together. Seeing how terrifying Mo Qingyun was, the people of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe attacked Mo Qingyun together. Facing the joint attack of the crowd, Mo Qingyun did not retreat at all. Instead, he met them head-on. In the process of fighting with the crowd, Mo Qingyun still did not use his immortal spiritual energy. He only used his physical body to contend with them. Bang! 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 Seeing this, Bao Feng was so frightened that his face turned pale, and his body trembled unconsciously. Bang! As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Mo Qingyun was still hit by a palm strike when he was fighting against so many people. Mo Qingyun was hit by a palm strike, and he was immediately sent flying. The blood in his body began to churn. The person who sent Mo Qingyun flying was a divine transformation stage cultivator, the strongest of the group. Judging from the damage of this person's palm, this is the strongest attack I can take right now. After being hit by that person's palm, Mo Qingyun immediately had a clear understanding of his own resistance. Now that he knew the limits of his resistance, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and said, "Since I already know the limits of my defense, the only thing left is my attack limits." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly as he muttered to himself. Then, he turned into a beam of light and charged towards the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. Knowing the limits of his physical body, Mo Qingyun attacked without any hesitation. He fought with his life on the line. When Mo Qingyun attacked, he didn't even bother to defend himself. It was a method of fighting with his life on the line. There was nothing he could do about it. After all, the strongest among them was only at the soul formation stage. These people couldn't even break through his defense. What was there for him to be afraid of? Under Mo Qingyun's continuous attacks, the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp Tribe's Daluo Golden Immortal experts were killed one by one. After about 15 minutes, there was only one person left among the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp Tribe's experts. This person was the Spirit-Severing Stage Cultivator. The reason he could survive wasn't because his cultivation was the strongest, but because Mo Qingyun had done it on purpose. Mo Qingyun wanted to test the offensive power of his physical body through his hand. He wanted to see what level his physical body had reached. "You're the only one left." Looking at the person in front of him, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. Then, his figure moved and charged towards the other party. Seeing Mo Qingyun attacking him, this person didn't dare to be careless and immediately counterattacked. Bang! 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 Mo Qingyun and Qin Wentian continued to collide with each other, creating a series of earth-shattering sounds and creating a storm of spiritual energy. As he continued to exchange blows with the other party, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of his own attack power. With his current physical attack power, he could easily kill people at the soul formation stage. Against soul refinement stage cultivators, he could crush them and kill them in a violent manner. As for people at the soul formation stage, it would take some effort. He had to slowly grind them to death. What kind of freak is this kid? His physical body is so terrifying. After fighting with Mo Qingyun for hundreds of times, this person's face was filled with horror. He had a strong fear of Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was really too strange. His cultivation was only at the Golden Immortal stage, but his strength was so strong that it was abnormal. More importantly, it didn't matter if it was a soul attack or a physical attack. Mo Qingyun was immune to it. In this way, how could he continue to fight? Run! Thinking of this person immediately made a decision. He didn't want to continue fighting. He knew very well that if he continued to fight, he really wouldn't be able to leave. After fighting with Mo Qingyun for a while, his injuries became more and more serious. He was about to reach the limit of what he could endure. "Bao Yun, don't leave me." Seeing that the person was about to escape, Bao Feng panicked and hurriedly begged Bao Yun. He knew very well that if Bao Yun escaped, he would really be dead. Unfortunately, Bao Yun turned a deaf ear to his pleas. In Bao Yun's opinion, he couldn't even protect himself, so how could he care about Bao Feng? Want to escape? Seeing that Bao Yun was about to escape, Mo Qingyun sneered and immediately chased after Bao Yun. He didn't want his whereabouts to be exposed after Bao Yun left. Although this possibility was small, Mo Qingyun had to be on guard. Because his current situation was very dangerous. Perhaps the King Devourer had already arrived at the Nine Flood Dragon Palace and was waiting for him to deliver himself to him. If Bao Yun managed to get information about him from his mouth, wouldn't he be done for? Mo Qingyun dodged and turned into a stream of light, chasing after Bao Yun. In a short few breaths, Mo Qingyun had caught up to Bao Yun and punched him. Facing Mo Qingyun's punch, Bao Yun didn't dare to be careless and immediately turned to block it. Soon after, Mo Qingyun and Bao Yun began to fight. Once again, their battle shook the heavens and the earth. Now that I'm dealing with Bao Yun, I can seize the opportunity to escape. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and Bao Yun were fighting, Bao Feng panicked and immediately took out a strange seal. Bao Feng took out the strange seal and activated it without hesitation. A mysterious force was emitted from the seal and enveloped Bao Feng within it. Then, Bao Feng's figure instantly disappeared under this strange power. He got away? Mo Qingyun had been paying close attention to Bao Feng's movements, so he'd known as soon as Bao Feng had fled. He hadn't expected Bao Feng to have such a trump card. Of course, Mo Qingyun didn't care much about Bao Feng's escape. This guy was just a small fry. Even if he'd escaped, he wouldn't have been able to stir up any trouble. Mo Qingyun even suspected that Bao Feng wouldn't have been able to get far before he was killed. Sir, you only have a grudge against Bao Feng. Why do you have to force my hand? Suppressed by Mo Qingyun, Bao Yun questioned Mo Qingyun with a pained expression. A cold smile floated at Mo Qingyun's lips. Didn't you also attack me when you heard Bao Feng's request just now? I've played with you for so long, it's time to end it. Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate any longer and immediately circulated the immortal spiritual force in his body. Mo Qingyun used his immortal spiritual energy, and his attack power immediately skyrocketed. In an instant, Bao Yun was unable to resist. Soon, Bao Yun was brutally killed by Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun frowned after killing Bao Yun. Consider yourself lucky, he said coldly. But you won't be so lucky the next time we meet. Thinking that Bao Feng was also heading to the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace, Missouri Qingyun's expression darkened. He immediately set off for the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace. I'm heading to the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace now. While Mo Qingyun was heading towards the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace, Bao Feng's figure appeared not far away. He had a lingering fear on his face as he said, "That was close. Fortunately, the ancestor gave me the Heaven Evasion Seal. Otherwise, I would have been in deep trouble." Bao Feng rejoiced. He no longer hesitated and hurried towards the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace. He wasn't far from 9WYRM Palace. With Bao Feng's indestructible golden body, it didn't take him too long. Roughly 6 hours later. I want Prime Minister Feng Hu. Bao Feng flew non-stop until he arrived outside 9WYRM Palace. He took out a black token. When the guard saw the token in Bao Feng's hand, he immediately displayed a respectful expression and led Bao Feng into 9WYRM Palace. Phew! Bao Feng's expression relaxed as soon as he entered 9WYRM Palace. He exhaled deeply. As far as he was concerned, Mo Qingyun couldn't do anything to him now that he was inside 9WYRM Palace. Under the guard's guidance, Bao Feng finally saw Prime Minister Feng Hu. He was an old tortoise with a black shell on his back. Bao Feng greets Uncle. Uncle, you must uphold justice for me. Bao Feng came in front of Feng Hu and knelt down in front of him, sobbing with tears and snot running down his face. Seeing Bao Feng's actions, Feng Hu smiled faintly. He helped Bao Feng up and said, I already know everything about your tribe. However, I can't do anything about your revenge. When he thought of that person's powerful strength, Feng Hu's heart was filled with fear. He didn't dare to have any more thoughts. Now that the Nine-Flood Dragon Palace was under her control, was he, Feng Hu, tired of living if he went to find her for revenge? Uncle, hearing Feng Hu's reply, Bao Feng's face was filled with disappointment. He wanted to say something. However, before Bao Feng could speak, Feng Hu interrupted him and said helplessly, From now on, you can stay at my place without worry. Although I can't avenge the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe, I can ensure that you don't have to worry about food and clothing. After comforting Bao Feng, Feng Hu took out a document and handed it to a dark-faced middle-aged man. He said, Xie Huan, distribute these wanted orders to each tribe. If anyone sees this young man, report his information immediately. It's him. Seeing the name of the person on the kill order, Bao Feng's expression immediately changed as he recognized the person. Chapter 1692. You know him? Seeing Bao Feng's reaction, Prime Minister Feng Hu was surprised and hurriedly asked Bao Feng. Hearing Prime Minister Feng Hu's question, Bao Feng's expression turned ferocious. He said angrily, Even if this kid turns into ashes, I will still be able to recognize him. Is that so? Seeing Bao Feng's reaction, Prime Minister Feng Hu's expression immediately turned joyful. He hurriedly said, In that case, quickly tell me, where did you meet him? I was on my way to the Nine Dragon Palace. When I was about to reach the Nine Dragon Palace, I met this kid. Bao Feng did not hide anything from Prime Minister Feng Hu's inquiry. He told Prime Minister Feng Hu the truth. Oh, in that case, he should have already entered the Nine Dragon City. Hearing Bao Feng's words, Prime Minister Feng Hu was shocked and immediately became serious. He said, "Follow me. Later, you will tell the palace masters everything you know." After Feng Hu finished speaking, he led Bao Feng out of the room to meet the palace masters of the Nine Dragon Palace. Hearing Feng Hu's instructions, Bao Feng did not dare to hesitate and immediately followed behind Feng Hu. After a while, Bao Feng was led by Feng Hu to a large hall. At this moment, there were more than 10 people with powerful auras sitting in the hall. Each of them was a Tai Xian immortal expert. Among these people, those with human heads and WRM faces should be the palace masters of the Nine WRM Palace. Next to the palace masters of the Nine Dragon Palace sat a few men with blood spots on their faces. They were from the Blood Evil Palace. Next to the Blood Evil Palace sat a few men with tentacles on their faces. They were from the Sky Order Palace. As for the last few people surrounded by lightning, they were naturally from the Lightning Ray Palace. However, what really shocked Bao Feng was the person sitting at the top of the hall. It was a woman whose upper body was a fish. That's right, the person sitting at the top of the hall was the King Devourer who was chasing Mo Qingyun. It's her. Seeing the King Devourer sitting at the top of the hall, Bao Feng was shocked and his face turned pale. He couldn't forget the scene of the King Devourer slaughtering and devouring his clansmen in the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. At the thought of such a scene, Bao Feng's expression became agitated. He looked at Feng Hu with anger and confusion and said, "Uncle, why did you do this? Why do you want to kill me?" From Bao Feng's point of view, Feng Hu must have brought him to see the King Devourer so that he could sell him out. The faces of everyone in the hall sank when they saw Bao Feng's reaction. Their expressions revealed intense displeasure. They were discussing important matters when Feng Hu, a young man from the Wind Hall, came. This was too inappropriate. "Prime Minister Feng Hu, who is this person? Why did you bring him here?" Nine Flood Dragon Palace's 8th Palace Master Feng Si questioned Feng Hu with a cold expression. It was obvious that he was very unhappy now. If Feng Hu could not give a reasonable explanation, he would not be polite to Feng Hu. Under Feng Si's questioning, Feng Hu's expression immediately trembled and he said with a flustered expression, "8th Palace Master, this person is my nephew. He has news of the person His Highness is looking for, so I brought him here to see His Highness and let him tell His Highness the situation." Hearing Feng Hu's explanation, the faces of Feng Si and the others turned for the better and a trace of expectation appeared on their faces. If Bao Feng really had news of Mo Qingyun, it would be a good thing. So it's a surviving member of the Iron Dragon Blood Shrimp tribe. King Devourer glanced at Bao Feng and saw through Bao Feng's identity. He sneered playfully and said, "If the news you bring can satisfy this emperor can spare your life." Hearing King Devourer say this, Feng Hu immediately gave Bao Feng a meaningful look and urged, "Bao Feng, why don't you tell everyone the truth about the situation you know?" Seeing Feng Hu's meaningful look, Bao Feng's expression turned for the better and he knew that he had misunderstood Feng Hu. Immediately, Bao Feng recounted his situation without leaving out a single detail. I'm satisfied with the news you brought. You can leave now." King Devourer nodded his head in satisfaction and waved his hand at Bao Feng, indicating that Bao Feng could leave. "Yes." Seeing King Devourer's action, Feng Hu responded and immediately left with Bao Feng. This kid really came to Nine Dragon City. This makes things much easier. Hearing Mo Qingyun's news, King Devourer's expression turned joyful. His body emitted a chilling aura as he ordered, "Feng Si, Feng Xian, Feng Xing, the three of you immediately give the order to conduct a thorough search of Nine Dragon City. Don't let go of any traces. Yes, this subordinate will do it right away. Hearing King Devourer's order, the three palace lords of Nine Dragon Palace immediately went to search for Mo Qingyun's hiding place. After instructing Feng Si and the others, the sky-devouring Mermaid Emperor looked at the people from the three halls and said, Sha Shan, Zhang Hui, Dian Hong, immediately return to the three halls' territories and increase the patrols in your territories. Don't let anyone escape. Yes, this subordinate will do it right away. Receiving the order, the three palace lords immediately left the palace. Kid, although you didn't use the Gate of Fortune and I can't sense your presence, you still can't escape. After giving out all the orders, King Devourer sneered and emitted a terrifying chilling aura. Around the Nine Dragon Palace, there was a huge city called the Nine Dragon City. Although Nine Dragon City was called a city, it was actually a combination of 9 cities. Nine Dragon City had a total of 9 entrances and exit. Each palace lord of Nine Dragon Palace was in charge of 1 entrance. Entering Nine Dragon City from the 9th gate, Mo Qingyun carefully began to search for information in the city. Not long after Mo Qingyun entered the city, he saw a group of soldiers posting a pursuit order. When Mo Qingyun saw the appearance of the pursuers, he was shocked. He was greatly shocked by this turn of event. I'm wanted. Seeing the pursuit order in front of him, Mo Qingyun's eyes widened in disbelief. This situation was far beyond his expectations. He had never met the palace lord of Nine Dragon Palace, so why would the other party give the order to pursue him? It seems like the worst situation has happened. Looking at the pursuit order, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh in his heart, but if there's an accident, Nine Dragon Palace might already be under the control of King Devourer. In Mo Qingyun's view, this was the only reason that could explain the current situation. That kid looks like the person on the pursuit order. It's him. He's the one the palace lord is after. Don't let him escape. Close the city gates immediately and open the city's defensive formation. Trap this kid in the city. When the crowd recognized Mo Qingyun, they no longer hesitated and immediately surrounded Mo Qingyun. Not long after, over 100 enormous figures charged toward Mo Qingyun. Oh no, I've been discovered. I have to leave this place immediately. Seeing the situation in front of him, Mo Qingyun was shocked and quickly fled out of Nine Dragon City. Traceless demon shadow. Lightning wind path. Illusory void star position. At this moment, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to hold back and raised his speed to the maximum. He had to escape from Nine Flood Dragon City before the great city protecting array closed. Otherwise, once the defensive formation closed, he would become a turtle in a jar. At that time, if he was exposed, the people of Nine Dragon City would hunt him down and he would be in danger. Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and turned into a stream of light, instantly rushing out of Nine Dragon City. After leaving Nine Dragon City, Mo Qingyun's figure didn't stop and continued to flee toward the west. Not long after, Mo Qingyun arrived at the 8th gate of Nine Dragon City and encountered another group of people searching for him. What gave Mo Qingyun a headache was that there was a Tai Xian, immortal realm expert, in this group of people. 8th Palace Lord, that kid is the one we're chasing. We can't let him escape. The guards chasing after Mo Qingyun saw Feng Si not far away and immediately reported the situation to him. Upon hearing the report, Feng Si's face immediately sank and he immediately chased after Mo Qingyun. Roar! Under Feng Si's pursuit, his figure swayed in midair and turned into a huge dragon snake. After Feng Si transformed into a dragon snake, his movement speed in the sea was immediately doubled. 8th Palace Lord? He's the Palace Lord of Nine Dragon Palace? Hearing how the guards addressed Feng Si, Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up and he immediately thought of a plan. This person is the 8th Palace Lord of 9 Dragon Palace. Perhaps he has the map of the rolling Thunder Devil Sea. If I can capture him, all the problems may be solved. Emo Qingyun thought for a moment and felt that this method was feasible. In that case, I'll slowly lure him away from 9 Dragon City. With that thought in mind, Emo Qingyun slowed down his speed, maintaining the same speed as Feng Si. Feng Si didn't know anything about Emo Qingyun's thoughts and didn't know that Emo Qingyun was deliberately baiting him. After flying for more than 2 hours, Emo Qingyun finally stopped. He was already very far away from 9 Dragon City. It should be about time now. If I fight here, I shouldn't be discovered by 9 Dragon City. Seeing that he was already far away from 9 Dragon City, Emo Qingyun prepared to fight Feng Si and try to capture this guy. Seeing Emo Qingyun stop, Feng Si's body flashed and he turned back into his human form. Boy, why aren't you running anymore? Is it because you don't have enough spirit energy? Seeing Emo Qingyun in front of him, Feng Si revealed a smug sneer and said, "With your golden immortal cultivation, you can escape from Master's pursuit. You have some ability. Unfortunately, you offended Master." Master? Could it be the King Devourer? Hearing Feng Si's words, Emo Qingyun's expression twitched and confirmed his guess. In order to confirm his guess, Emo Qingyun revealed a solemn expression and questioned Feng Si, "As the Palace Lord of 9 Dragon Palace, why are you willing to let someone else be your master? Why are you following the orders of a merman?" "You already know." Chapter 1693. Just nice, I also want to capture you. Hearing Feng Si's words, Emo Qingyun coldly replied and said, "If that's the case, let's see who will win." After Emo Qingyun spoke, he no longer hesitated. His figure moved as he charged towards Feng Si. When Emo Qingyun rushed towards Feng Si, Aoli flew out from the Soul Star and assisted Emo Qingyun in his battle with Feng Si. Bloodline suppression. Demon God transformation. Although he couldn't use the Lightgate Martial Spirit's superpower, Emo Qingyun could still use other superpowers. Under the shroud of demonic aura, Emo Qingyun's body began to change and became several times bigger in the blink of an eye. When Emo Qingyun's body became bigger, a terrifying bloodline power erupted from his body. Under this bloodline power, Feng Si's body immediately trembled and a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Immediately after, the aura emitted by Feng Si became somewhat unstable. What a powerful bloodline power! Facing Emo Qingyun's bloodline suppression, Feng Si was shocked and his expression became tense. He didn't expect Emo Qingyun to have such a superpower that could suppress his blood flow. When Feng Si's blood was suppressed, his strength was also weakened and dropped to the pregnant Tao stage of the Grand Unity mysterious immortal realm. This kid is indeed strange, no wonder he could escape from Lord's hands. Thinking of the King Devourer's methods, Feng Si's face turned cold and he felt a strong lingering fear. At that time, the 9 of them joined forces to deal with the King Devourer. In the end, they were crushed by the King Devourer and didn't even have the strength to fight back. Emo Qingyun was only in the Golden Immortal Realm and he was able to escape from the King Devourer's hands. It could be seen that he wasn't simple. "Aoli, hold him back first, I'll support you from the side." After summoning Aoli from the Soul Palace, Missouri Qingyun instructed him and quickly charged towards Feng Si. Suddenly, a terrifying demonic aura erupted from Emo Qingyun's body. Devil Fist, shattering Star River. Emo Qingyun punched out. Immediately, a terrifying amount of immortal spiritual energy gathered on his fist. Soon, a black fist the size of a small mountain shot out from Emo Qingyun's fist. A huge black fist shadow blasted out and pressed down on Feng Si with the force of a thunderbolt. Such power! This kid's punch is comparable to a Tao comprehending stage cultivator. Sensing the power of Emo Qingyun's punch, Feng Si's face was filled with shock and disbelief. he exclaimed, "no wonder you were able to escape from Master. You really can't be judged by common sense. However, your strength is only comparable to the Tao comprehending stage. It's not enough to contend against me." Ancestral Dragon Sky Collapsing Palm. As Feng Xi's words faded, he no longer hesitated and blasted out a palm towards the Black Fist. Under Feng Xi's palm, the heavens and earth changed colors, the wind and clouds surged, condensing into a giant dragon palm. Once the dragon palm was formed, it blasted towards the Black Fist aura, instantly blocking it. Crack, crack, crack. After being hit by Feng Xi's palm, a crisp sound rang out from the Black Fist aura. Soon, the Black Fist aura disintegrated and slowly dissipated into the heavens and earth. When the Black Fist aura disintegrated, the giant dragon palm also shattered bit by bit. He can actually cancel out my full power. Seeing Mo Qingyun's strength, Feng Xi's expression was filled with shock and disbelief. However, although Feng Xi was shocked, he did not hesitate. After blocking Mo Qingyun's attack with his palm, Feng Xi's hand did not stop moving and blasted out another palm towards Aoli. Another terrifying power rapidly gathered in midair and turned into a huge palm print. So strong. Sensing the power of Feng Xi's palm, Aoli's expression changed drastically. He quickly reminded Mo Qingyun, "Master, this person's cultivation has reached the second step of the Grand Unity mysterious immortal realm and has nurtured his own Tao seed. I'm afraid I can't suppress him." When Aoli reminded Mo Qingyun, he did not dare to hesitate and immediately blocked Feng Xi's attack. Mad Dragon Thousand Buddha Fist. Aoli's fists moved rapidly and blasted out powerful fist shadows that collided with the giant palm print. Bang, bang, bang. Under the constant bombardment of the fist shadows, the giant palm print was immediately blocked and the light dimmed bit by bit. Soon, Feng Xi's full power palm print was blocked by Aoli. After neutralizing Feng Xi's full power attack, Mo Qingyun and Aoli did not stop and immediately attacked Feng Xi. Facing the joint attack of Mo Qingyun and Aoli, Feng Xi was a little flustered, but he was not in any danger. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed slightly as he thought to himself, "Looks like I was a little careless this time. Without using the Light Gate martial spirit, I'm afraid that Aoli and I won't be able to take down Feng Xi even if we join forces. I'll deal with you first, then deal with that brat." At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was pondering, Feng Xi's palm struck out at Aoli. In Feng Xi's opinion, between Mo Qingyun and Aoli, Aoli was the real danger. Once Aoli was out of the way, it would be much easier for him to deal with Mo Qingyun. Feng Xi's palm strike was fast and arrived in front of Aoli in the blink of an eye, putting Aoli in danger. Seeing that Feng Xi's palm strike was about to hit Aoli, Mo Qingyun's face tensed up, saying, "If Aoli is hit by this palm strike, he will definitely be seriously injured. We can't let Feng Xi injure Aoli. Withdraw." With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun immediately sent Aoli into the Fortune mainland. After Aoli was sent away, Feng Xi's palm strike missed. "This time, we'll fight here first, next time we'll fight." After resolving Aoli's crisis, Mo Qingyun was unwilling to stay any longer and flew away. In a short while, Mo Qingyun had left Feng Xi in the dust, widening the distance between them. Mo Qingyun's thoughts were simple: since he couldn't take down Feng Xi, there was no point in continuing the battle. More importantly, he was afraid that a long battle would bring more trouble and attract other people from the Nine Flood Dragon Palace. Just dealing with Feng Xi was already difficult enough. If there were a few more people, the situation would become even worse. "Brat, where do you think you're running?" Seeing that Mo Qingyun was preparing to escape, Feng Xi's face sank, and he chased after Mo Qingyun. While Feng Xi was chasing after Mo Qingyun, his heart was filled with shock, and he exclaimed, "What kind of freak is this brat? He's only in the golden immortal realm, but his speed is so fast. Looking at Feng Si, who was chasing after him, Mo Qingyun revealed a faint smile, but he wasn't in a hurry to shake him off. In Mo Qingyun's view, Feng Si had been following him, and he would eventually have a chance to take him down. In the battle with Feng Si just now, although my defensive power was enough, my offensive power is still far from enough. Mo Qingyun thought as he fled, summarizing the battle just now and finding his shortcomings. Mo Qingyun pondered for a while, then he revealed a helpless expression. In the end, my cultivation is still too low. If I was a golden immortal, it wouldn't be difficult for me to kill Feng Si. I can't let him chase me like this. I won't have a chance to improve my strength. After leading Feng Si for a while, Mo Qingyun had a new plan. He didn't want to be entangled with Feng Si anymore. Currently, the most important thing for him was to improve his cultivation. With that thought, Mo Qingyun increased his flying speed, preparing to shake Feng Si off. He still had some strength left when he was flying just now. Seeing Mo Qingyun's speed increase, Feng Si's expression was shocked. He was shocked by the situation. In his view, Mo Qingyun's flying speed was on par with his. It was already very monstrous. In the end, Mo Qingyun still had strength left. It was too unbelievable. However, although Mo Qingyun increased his speed, he still couldn't shake Feng Si off. This still won't do. I have to think of a way to shake him off quickly. Seeing that Feng Si was still chasing closely, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly, his mind quickly thinking. Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment, then his eyes lit up. He immediately had an idea. That's right, I can use the lightning pool to shake this guy off. With that thought, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately flew out from the bottom of the sea. Mo Qingyun flew out from the bottom of the sea. He directly flew towards a lightning pool, preparing to use it to obstruct Feng Si. He actually flew to the surface of the sea. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Feng Si revealed a shocked expression, hesitating whether to follow. There were many lightning bolts on the surface of the sea. If one was struck, even if they didn't die, they would lose a layer of skin. After hesitating for a while, Feng Si still chased. He didn't want to let Mo Qingyun off. But when Feng Si chased after Mo Qingyun, a situation that made him vomit blood appeared. Mo Qingyun actually rushed into the lightning pool. With the power of that lightning pool, if he were to go in, he would be badly battered by the lightning. Damn brat, you better not let me meet you. Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the lightning pool, Feng Si's expression darkened. He gave up on chasing after Mo Qingyun. In his opinion, he was just working for the King Devourer. There was no need for him to risk his life. Feng Si gave up on chasing. Mo Qingyun immediately noticed. A faint smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect that Feng Si, with his grand unity mystic immortal realm cultivation, would be less courageous than Lan Kuei. He doesn't even dare to enter the lightning pool. Originally, Mo Qingyun thought that Feng Si would enter the lightning pool and would only give up after being obstructed by the lightning pool. Unexpectedly, Feng Si didn't even enter the lightning pool. He directly gave up chasing after him. From the looks of it, Mo Qingyun overestimated him, overestimating his determination to chase after him. Since I've gotten rid of that guy, it's time to cultivate in peace. After getting rid of Feng Si, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any more time. He immediately started cultivating in the lightning pool. Following that, time slowly passed as Mo Qingyun cultivated. Due to the existence of the King Devourer, Mo Qingyun didn't return to the bottom of the sea. He stayed on the surface of the sea. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.